That is £30,000 tax-free dropping into your bank. Go to winhappy.me/wincash. Win the 30k January payday. UK residents over 18 only. Terms and conditions apply. Competition ends on the 28th of January at 5 p.m.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. Choose from 30 manufacturers and over 6,000 vehicles online. And this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a 6-game Saturday in the Scottish Premiership. Rangers first up, looking to cut the gap at the top when they head to St Mirren. Celtic can respond later with the visit of Ross County. Will we see a debut for Nicholas Kuhn? St Johnstone, Motherwell, Hearts, Aberdeen, Kelly Hibs and Livy Dundee make up the top flight card. And I'm in the company of Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Today we welcome back an old favourite. A draw is a disaster, a defeat is a catastrophe. If Rangers beat St Mirren in Paisley, the gap between Philippe Clement's side and Brendan Rodgers' team is reduced to just 2 points. Ross County are at Celtic Park. They've lost their last 2 games 3-0 at home to Partick Thistle in the Cup and Aberdeen in the league. They have run out of energy quicker than Jurgen Klopp. But Celtic are not in a position to take anything for granted, just like Hibs at Kilmarnock, Motherwell at St Johnstone and Aberdeen at Hearts. Like the Dark Destroyer says on The Chase, let's do this, Bradley.
Yeah, we'll have a weekend, a Saturday when everybody's involved in it and it rarely comes about, and it starts early today. St Mirren v Rangers, and if Rangers were in the form that they were midweek, then they probably should have no problem today. And at Celtic Park there is interest, of course, because the new signing should be fit and ready to go, and I'm sure Celtic fans are going along hoping that he's available. And you look down the divisions, once again some cracking fixtures all over the country.
Yeah, I think it's a good fixture list, as the lad said. I think it's an exciting one. I think we'll get a good game at Paisley. I know the weather conditions aren't great, but I was impressed with the way Rangers went about their business at Easter Road. Obviously Celtic, I think everybody's putting that down as a banker. Some interesting games. My home team Motherwell got to get a result at St Johnstone, and a cracker at Tynecastle, Hearts and Aberdeen.
A 6-game Saturday in the Scottish Premiership means a 6-hour Clyde One Super Scoreboard. 6 hours of Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins. Where else would you rather be? It is all happening here in the Scottish Premiership. We've had the winter break, we've had the top flight drip fed back to us throughout the week, but this is it. This is when it properly returns. Every team in the top flight in action across the remainder of the afternoon, and one thing is guaranteed: drama and controversy, because that's what we dine out on in Scottish football. So let's get the ball rolling in Paisley. St Mirren taking on Rangers. Gabriel has the teams.
New Gordon from a windy Smythe Stadium, and there's big team news here. Let's start with Rangers. 4 changes from Wednesday's 3-0 win at Hibernian. Connor Goldson comes back in from suspension, while Scott Wright, Cyril Dessers and Dujon Sterling all start as well. Leon Balogun, Ross McCausland, Rabbi Matondo and Fabio Silva drop to the bench. New signing Mohamed Diomande is not yet available. So it's an entirely new front three and a narrower side all round. Team is as follows: Jack Butland in goal, a defence of James Tavernier, John Suter, Connor Goldson and Ridvan Yilmaz. John Lundstrom, Nico Raskin and Dujon Sterling will be in midfield. Todd Campbell and Scott Wright will support Cyril Dessers. The substitutes are McCrory, Jack, Silva, Lawrence, Matondo, Balogun, Barisic, McCausland and Devine. The hosts will be fancying their chances today. Stephen Robinson makes 2 changes to his St Mirren team. Captain Mark O'Hara is in along with Lewis Jameson. Conor Menemin is injured, if I can get it out. Colin Boyd-Moyes drops to the bench. New signing James Scott is amongst the substitutes. They stick with their typical 3-4-3 formation. It's Zach Hemming in goal, a defence of Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and James Bolton. Elvis Bomono, Hyok Kyu Kwon, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanzer will be across the middle. Lewis Jameson and Greg Kilty support Jonah Ayunga. The substitutes are Rominski, Taylor, Dunn, Flynn, Brown, Namadi, Mandron, Scott and Boyd Muntz.
Incredible that you chose Conor McMenamin to make a mistake with when you got all the rest of the difficult ones easily. I mean, his Quan pronunciation was spectacular.
Yeah.
And it was the Conor McMenamin that done it.
He was struggling there.
I didn't even laugh at that. We've all been
I was going to say, I was looking at you,
We've all
Thea, and
been
thinking,
there.
like, people in glass houses and all that stuff.
That was Gabriel Antoniazzi.
What he did do was bring us some very interesting team news, Gordon Dalziel, specifically from a Rangers perspective. I'm not sure many people would have predicted those changes.
Squad rotation. He's looked at Wednesday night. He was obviously pleased with what he's seen and decided, look, I'm giving people an opportunity here. Dessers, I'm delighted he's back in it. I'm just, he's one of these guys that I don't know what he's got to bring to the table. I said it on Thursday night. I thought his goal on Wednesday night was outstanding and give him all the credit in the world. And I'm not having any of this, well, did he mean it or did he not? He certainly did, and it was terrific.
Who's been saying that?
What
do you mean?
How
could they not have meant it?
A lot of people I've met.
I think you've made up this argument in your head.
Probably. But what I will say was, it was a terrific goal, first and
I
foremost.
think he's become an enigma. And
That's
that's not
good.
the Nokia.
Who's that?
That's not the Nokia.
Unprofessional, DL. How bad is that?
That's me.
Terrible.
What's
So unprofessional.
Sorry, I was sorry. I was Cyril Dessers.
No, it's Gabriel to say. How do you pronounce
What did that name say? Did that name say what I thought it said there?
What a name we have in your phone.
Did you see that?
What a time I did see that. Who phoned you?
Who saves someone on their phone is
No.
part of the human anatomy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's made my Saturday. I can actually go home.
Why have you got someone saved in your phone as that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Forget the game. Forget the build up. I stole the show.
That's what half the listeners will be calling you by the end of the evening.
We'll go back to the point.
Go
Cyril
on then.
Dessers has become an enigma. He looks as if he needs 4 chances to get 1 goal, but the fans are warming to him. He looks like a player that's turning a corner, albeit slowly, and the fans will give him their full backing in Paisley today, because as I say, the object of the exercise is very simple. Rangers have to win the match, put Celtic under pressure, even though they're playing a Ross County team with injuries, suspension and general loss of form.
Yeah, it's interesting. Desser's back in. I just assumed when Silva came to the club that he would need a bit of time to get up to speed and then he would be the main man. But I think we've discussed he doesn't really look like that number 9. But Dessers is scoring goals. Never mind his all-round play. I think Daz said the other night, when you're at Rangers, as long as you're scoring goals, people quickly forget about everything else. And if he can continue that today, then the Rangers fans won't mind it at all that he's in the side. Interesting one for me, Sterling coming in now. I know he was good when he came on the other night. Where does that fit into the shape? Where's he going to play within that? You've got Raskin, Lundstrom, Cantwell in there.
I think in that Hertha Berlin game, that's who they played, wasn't it? Yeah. Hertha Berlin friendly. Did he not play? He actually played a bit wider
off the left.
I think it was off the right. But either way, he certainly played a bit wider, and I wonder if that's something. I mean, if you kind of hand pick a friendly and do it in that game,
yeah,
maybe suggest it as something that Philippe Clement thinks can work going forward.
You know what? Players like that are worth their weight in gold. That they can play a number of positions. Can play at the back. He's been seen to play defensive midfielder and very well at that. And now you're going to see him in a wider area today. Really valuable, those kind of players. And I'm sure he certainly deserves his shot back in the side because he's been excellent every time.
I think looking at that side, he's got to try and dominate the middle of the park. He usually goes with 2 wide guys. And Wednesday night, McCausland on the right, Matondo wide, and he used the width of the pitch. Today, and I'm delighted Sterling's back. I thought he was brilliant second half. Really did, Gordon. So that's got to be a really compact midfield.
I think the good thing for the manager is people were questioning when he arrived from Belgium, people were questioning the strength and depth that Rangers possessed. If you can go from one game to the next and change the entire front three, then maybe there's greater strength and depth than people gave him credit for.
Or Philippe Clement's getting a tune out of the group overall, Gordon. I mean, still, like Scott Wright, we don't maybe think of him as he doesn't start many Rangers games. I think the last one he started was early November, the 1st of November in fact. But Philippe Clement trusting it and kind of knowing that he seems to be the one that's getting a tune out of the overall group.
I think that's where the new manager takes the plaudits for me, Gordon. I think he's come in there to a group of players that weren't running in high confidence. They looked all over the place. There were no sort of a system pattern to their play. He's just got to tune out every single one of them. I thought, as I say, they went to Hibs on Wednesday night, and for spells of the game I thought they were excellent. Then he makes the substitutions, and this is where I think the impact things got to happen for him. Postecoglou was brilliant at it. At Celtic he would make substitutions, impact right away. The other night there he brought on Dessers, getting a goal. Sterling, brilliant second half. So he's starting to implement that into the side as well.
We're going to hear from both managers from Paisley. You can hear them next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. They'll collect, repair and deliver your vehicle, providing a hassle-free service.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel building up to a big game in Paisley first of all, before we move on to other fixtures later this afternoon. But St Mirren against Rangers hopefully will be a cracker in the Paisley sunshine. Let's hear from both managers, starting with the home boss Stephen Robinson.
It certainly makes a statement. You only get 3 points for it, unfortunately. It doesn't matter who you beat, you still only get 3 points. But it sets standards. It gives a bit of momentum. It creates a feel-good factor, and it creates a very much a positivity among the fan base as well. So yeah, it's important. I think it's one that we go in believing we can win, one that we believe we can be very competitive in. But obviously have to be at the very top of our game, because they've got great quality. They showed that again against Hibs during midweek, and we have to match that. We have to be right at the top of our game.
Usually would look for cutting edge analysis of a secret, well thought out game plan that Stephen Robinson could have. Gordon, I wonder if keeping 11 men on the pitch might be a very simple solution, because we give St Mirren the credit they deserve. They've done very well, and you look at this fixture on paper and think, maybe this is going to be a tough game for Rangers. But the last twice that Celtic have come to Paisley, they've had an early sending off, and the last visit of Rangers, they had an early sending off, and it kills everything. The game plan completely out the window. They were the correct decisions, all of them from memory. But you need certain things to go your way to topple the big boys, and getting early sendings off is just not one of them.
Yeah, especially the form that Rangers are going to St Mirren in. I think you've got to be disciplined, Gordon. I think you've got to be making sure every player's doing their job that they're asked to be done. He'll have worked in a game plan, of that there's no doubt. The one thing about St Mirren is they've got a team that work very hard for a manager. They're well organised, but at times they just lack a little bit of discipline for me. And I think that Rangers, as much as it will be a difficult game, I cannot see anything but a Rangers.
It wasn't even, sorry Hugh, I was going to say it wasn't even a dig at the discipline, because Olasanya against Celtic, everybody said he was a bit unfortunate. He's dangled a leg, he caught Joe Hart. Ryan Strains was that handball denying an obvious. So actually it's a bit of luck that you maybe need on the day as well.
Although self-harm is part of the St Mirren story. They've had 22 games this season, and it's been a tale of two halves, if I can put it that way. In the first dozen or so, the wins outnumbered the losses. In the last 10, the losses have outnumbered the wins. They started off very well. They got all manner of praise on this programme and everywhere else, they've fallen away. They've had one win in the last 5 games, and they have undoubtedly fallen away. Kwon's arrival from Celtic, by all accounts, was very good for St Mirren in their last game. He apparently looked the part. He'll get a warm reception from the Rangers fans every time he touches the ball, but he has to rise above all that. He's got to do a job at St Mirren and return to Celtic and see what kind of future he has there. But St Mirren started well, fallen away. I'm not sure they have the right stuff to be taking on Rangers at this particular juncture.
The head-to-head record points in one direction only, Mark. I think it's 17 of the last 18 the Rangers have won when the sides have met.
Yeah, well, it's a fixture that Rangers like, obviously. St Mirren, Hugh's right, spot on. A lot of heavy lifting from St Mirren been done in the first quarter of the season, really. Then they went off the boil a bit. Didn't finish up too hot against Celtic. And Stephen Robinson come back. I think he would have looked for more from his team last week as well in the Scottish Cup. You know, although they're through and everybody says, oh, but getting through, you're looking for better. So there's no doubt he'll be disappointed. Like, he's made a few signings in the January window, and that can't be said for a lot of sides in our league, but he recognises what he needs. Now, Kwon coming in, did I see James Scott? Is he signed as well recently? So he's on the bench today. He needs more from his team, but it's going to be a hard task today, seeing the way Rangers played midweek.
Let's hear from Philippe Clement.
It's always difficult to go there. It's a good home site. It's really physical football. They have their specific qualities, and with those they hurt every team. So we need to play a really good game defensively, but of course using our offensive strength and continue what we've been doing last weeks, last months, and to confirm that.
On the television coverage this afternoon as well, Philippe Clement has warned, if you like, that this will be less sexy than on other occasions, he says. So he's clearly, and we spoke about picking that team, very little width in it as well, or less width than usual. He's clearly gone very specific with that quote. It sounds like he's kind of prepared for a bit more of a battle. And I'm always interested in that, because I, having never had to make these decisions, I always wonder, you know, Celtic and Rangers, what are you doing here? Do you want to roll up your sleeves and try and do what they do, or do you want to do your bit better, play your football, play it better than them, and then they won't be able to live with you? Or do you try and match the battle element of it? It sounds like Philippe Clement wants to do the latter.
Yeah, I think top managers will recognise it's not always possible to impose yourself in the game, you know, especially when you're away from home. Especially, you look where they're going today, incredibly windy there, so it's sometimes difficult to play your style. He knows it'll be a battle. He knows St Mirren will be physical. They've got big physical players in there, especially in the centre of the pitch as well. So he's obviously going to try and match them first and foremost. Now, I think the game will take on a certain form after the first probably 15-20 minutes, but first and foremost, he understands his players will have to roll up their sleeves and do the dirty work.
I know what you're saying. I totally agree with Mark. I think he's going there to match them, and if he can match them, he knows he's got the better players. But when you look at, I'm a bit surprised when you look at the system that St Mirren play. They play 3 at the back. Now, if Rangers go there and play 2 wide guys like Matondo and McCausland that they did the other night there, St Mirren have got a problem, because the 2 wing backs will not venture forward too quickly, and if they do, then you've got 2 centre backs having to go out to the wings to go and go up against Matondo, for instance, because great pace. And that's where I thought Rangers would have played today. I thought they'd have played with the 2 wingers and said to St Mirren, right, okay, you play a back 3, we're going to ask questions.
I think the ability to battle is essential for Rangers and Celtic, because the vast majority of the league aren't as good as they are, don't have the quality they have.
You should outplay them then.
Well, yes, but they will battle, because that's all they have in their locker. They only have that. The reason why Hibs lost so convincingly midweek is because they couldn't battle their way out of a wet paper bag.
Should be an interesting one anyway, and kick-off in Paisley is coming next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Fault and non-fault insurance specialist. Robert will even pay your excess. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the warmth of the studio. Not quite so warm in Paisley, but that is where all the action is going to take place. We're back a 6-game Saturday in the Scottish Premiership, and it all begins with St Mirren against Rangers as Philippe Clement's side look to cut the gap at the top. And of course Stevie Robinson has some aims of his own. Let's build up to kick off with Gabriel.
Thanks, Gordon. As you say, a huge game here in Paisley. Rangers' second away match at a top 6 side in the past 4 days. Chance to build on Wednesday night's impressive win at Easter Road and to close the gap on league leaders Celtic to just 2 points before they play this afternoon. The two captains leading their sides out, James Tavernier of Rangers and Mark O'Hara of St Mirren, with the two sets of supporters at either side of the stadium putting up respective banners. The Rangers won both previous meetings this season between the two teams at an aggregate score of 5-0. We know the Gers are in impressive form. St Mirren have not won any of the last 11 meetings. You have to go back to the 2020 COVID season in the League Cup to see a Buddies victory. Of course, St Mirren wants to improve on last year's 6th place finish and secure European football. A win today puts them fourth, but as Hugh was touching on, they've only won 1 of their last 5 in the league. Look like they might be starting to slip away. Rangers in their red kit, just taking off their warm-up tracksuit tops. Let's go through their team. Philippe Clement makes 4 changes from Wednesday's victory. Connor Goldson comes back in from suspension along with Scott Wright, Cyril Dessers and Dujon Sterling. So the team is Jack Butland in goal, a defence of Tavernier, Suter, Goldson and Yilmaz. It'll be Lundstrom and Raskin in the middle of the park with Sterling, Cantwell and Wright in front of them. Cyril Dessers leads the line. Stephen Robinson makes 2 changes to his St Mirren team. Captain Mark O'Hara is in along with Lewis Jameson. Apologies to Connor Menemin, who is missing today. If you're listening, I butchered your name earlier on. I promise it will not happen again. The Saints are in their 3-4-3 formation as usual. Hemming in goal. The defence of Fraser, Gogic, Bolton, Wamono and Kwon, O'Hara and Tanza make up the midfield 4. Jameson and Kilty will support Ayunga. The teams just swapping ends here at the Smizer Stadium. As you can probably hear, Gordon, it's very windy, but it is a sunny afternoon. A great day for football. The referee, David Dickinson, is just making sure the 2 goalkeepers reach their lines before we get underway. The VAR here is going to be Don Robertson. A huge afternoon in the Scottish Premiership, and it is all about to get underway right now.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. New year, new start. Quit the cigarettes with the smoking cessation programme.
Showtime in Paisley. It's been a long time since I asked you 3 to predict the first game of a Scottish Premiership Saturday. We had a winter break. That is now a thing of the past. Well, not only for this season, but a thing of the past going forward as well, since we've done away with it. So go on, Hugh. We're back with a bang. How's this one going to finish?
As Gabriel was speaking there, the stadium announcer was playing Paisley icon Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street. I think it's Easy Street for Rangers.
By
score.
How many?
3-0.
Wow. Big prediction to kick us off, Mark Wilson.
2-1 Rangers.
Tighter.
I'll go 3-1 Rangers.
3-1 Rangers. There we go. No one giving St Mirren even a point. We will see in the Paisley sunshine. It tends to be one of the windiest stadiums on planet Earth at the best of times, and I think you could hear that today as well. So maybe not one for the purist. Philippe Clement says he doesn't expect it to be as sexy as normal, whatever that may mean. So we'll keep a close eye out, bring you up to speed on any of the main talking points, and start this procession through what should hopefully be an exciting Saturday.
Well, now what we always call the business end of the season. Now, it's quite straightforward for Celtic and Rangers. Any slip up and it could cost you the title. We'll get to the argument about transfer windows throughout the course of next week, when the window closes on Thursday at 11:30 p.m. But right now, on the park, one false move and you're a goner. So Rangers will be there to get the goals, get the points, and put whatever pressure you can on Celtic when they're playing a team like Ross County.
You are a big part of any Saturday here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard, so make sure you stay in touch at Clyde SSB on Twitter all afternoon. Of course, the open line will be here much later, and I'll give you the nod when you can get your calls in. But in the meantime, if you've anything you want to get off your chest about St Mirren and Rangers or anything else entirely, at Clyde SSB. You might even want to just get in touch, give well wishes to Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson or Gordon Dalziel, who knows. But do let us know what you're up to this afternoon, as John Lundstrom has the first shot of the game. 2 minutes on the clock. He didn't fully catch it, and straight through to Zach Hemming in the St Mirren goal.
Started well, Rangers, move the ball quickly, get it up the opposite end of the pitch, and Lundstrom just with that, he tried to bend it into the far corner, didn't quite catch it. Interesting to see Sterling is playing off the left. Just goes to show you can fit in anywhere, and Clement trusts him in several different positions. Scott Wright taking his position on the right, but Sterling coming way in the pitch in the opening couple of minutes to allow Yilmaz to be the width on the outside. So certainly a game plan that they've worked on, and Clement likes the shaper for this one.
And it looks like St Mirren have worked on just dropping deep, try to make sure that Rangers don't have a lot of space middle of the park over the top. They're letting Rangers have it at the back there with Golson and Suter. Obviously it's a tactic that he's worked on in training. It'll be interesting to see if it can pay dividends for him.
Is that a negative?
No, that's not negative. That's you either go high press and and hope the Rangers don't just play through you, or you've got a tactic to sit there, bring Rangers in, close the gaps, and then maybe hit in the counter attack.
Yeah, cross coming in from the right from Rangers, but hacked away, and difficult when the ball does go up. It has to really stick there. That would be Stephen Robinson's message, and it doesn't, and it just allows it to come back, Mark. That's the only downside. I think clearly when it's at your place, and earlier on in the season there was a suggestion that you could get a bit of joy if you tried to frustrate Rangers, make them break you down, but you're going to have to keep it when you win it.
Well, that's it. And opportunities like this, when Cantwell just slips there and you pounce upon it, you've got to then have bodies running forward. But again, you've got to find the right pass, and it's overhit. So it could be an incredibly frustrating day for the St Mirren fans going along there. Of course, when you go along to your home ground, you expect your team to have a fair bit of possession and create. But today, by the looks of this opening 4 or 5 minutes, they're just going to be sitting there just waiting to pounce at the right time.
It was really good initially by Kwon. Gordon, he won it back, drove forward, I think picked the right pass, but just far too much on it, and it goes out of play.
It's a big afternoon. He wants to prove his sell. He's obviously out on loan. He wants to prove his sell against the top teams. Everybody's desperate to see what he can really bring to the party. He looks a very talented player, the lad, but he'd be disappointed with that pass, I've got to say.
Hugh, you were bang on. I mean, I'm sure he probably will get the odd jeer from the Rangers fans, but nothing would sum up Scotland more, because he's not really a Celtic player as such. I mean, it's not like he's a 150 appearances Celtic veteran. He's not really the chance to make an impact yet, has he?
Well, not at Celtic, that's for sure, but it's guilt by association. He was at Celtic, and therefore he is easy prey for the Rangers supporters. But they'll get over Kwon very, very quickly, because yes, Stephen Robinson has laid out his tactics and they're very obvious, but Rangers just have to overcome that and every other obstacle if they can, because these two away games have always been brought up in conversation, and the Celtic fans always believed that it wouldn't be the case. It would eventually come down to 2 points. Well, Rangers have to show that is not the case this afternoon.
Just thinking at the personnel, Mark, because everything or a lot of it on this show comes through the Rangers and Celtic lens, and if they've got someone missing, we obsess over it and maybe ignore the fact that obviously absentees would hurt a lot more for the smaller teams who've got squads that aren't as deep and don't have as much quality. I was thinking of someone like Ryan Strain, and yes, he got sent off against Rangers earlier this season, but for players like him to be unavailable for different reasons, it's difficult for St Mirren.
Well, he's been magnificent this season on the right hand side, really a standout, and of course when you miss somebody as influential as him, it's going to take a lot away from your team. So you're right, we always concentrate on the big stars missing for Celtic and Rangers, but these guys are incredibly important, especially Strain for St Mirren. Nice play from Kwon, just brings it down and plays it outright, and it's a very ambitious cross from St Mirren. Stephen Robinson won't like
that. It was all a bit aimless. Mikey makes a really good point on Twitter, I have to say. He says, look, forget about the game. I think most people have tuned in to find out if you ever found out where Hugh was. What was he up to last night? Now, you won't know this, Hugh.
I do.
So last night,
I'll tell you why I do know.
I'll paint the picture for anyone who didn't hear it. You weren't on the show, obviously. So I knew you were at some sort of concert or some sort of entertainment in the Glasgow area, but I genuinely couldn't remember which one. So we put it out there to the listeners. What's on in Glasgow in the West tonight? Where is Hugh Keevins? And the response was sensational. We got a lot of suggestions that you were at Strictly.
Not true.
At the Hydro, because I know you're a big fan
was
of.
that on last night?
My mum was there.
It's on tonight as well.
I would have went there.
Because I know you're a big fan of Angela Rippon. So thought maybe you were there.
I had to let Angela down.
There was a suggestion maybe you were at an event called I'm a Raver at the Savoy. You and Mrs. Keevins.
No.
We didn't then someone said maybe you were at Aladdin, I think, at the Kings or something along those lines. And then the power of this show. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to think we could harness the power of this show for something more powerful than Where is Hugh Keevins. But a taxi driver phoned in and said, I'm at the pavilion and I can see Hugh Keevins in the line. So is that true? Where were you? Can you reveal all for your adoring public?
Well, on the subject of taxi drivers, I got into a taxi with my wife to come home. George, the taxi driver from Drumchapel, and
that's a freebie, innit? He's gave him
no,
that's a freebie.
No, George can vouch for that.
The taxi company now to get you.
And his first words were, "Where have you been?" I said, "What?" And on the tip of my tongue is the expression, "What's it got to do with you?" But he said, "They've been talking about you all night." So the answer is, I was at the pavilion, that is true, to see the inimitable, the wonderful Eddie Reader.
Eddie Reader.
Brilliant.
And I have to say,
Very
Mark,
good.
you missed it. You had gone for a coffee earlier in the office when Hugh told Gordon he went to see Eddie Reader, and Gordon said, "Who are they? What do they sing?"
Eddie and the Readers.
Eddie and the Readers.
Eddie Reader.
Eddie Readers and the Writers.
Fairground attraction.
It's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
I thought that was a group.
Danny Reader's lassie.
Was it good?
Oh, sensational.
Was it
She's
worth missing Friday's Clyde
Listen,
Super Score? Don't answer that.
anyone who can do a 2-song encore and begin with Frank Sinatra in the wee small hours of the morning and sing it beautifully, and then finish with Charlie Is My Darling, that's a class act.
He's had a good Friday. This man's had a good Friday.
Yeah.
Red wine consumed.
Was it a Friday? Any day of the week with a Y in
Has
it?
the pavilion got the service that you pre-order your drinks through the app and they arrive at your seat?
No.
Through the what?
No.
Sorry.
Oh, of course you want to know how to do
You're
that.
joking?
Hugh,
Mark
there is an app.
sent me a number today, a telephone number, and it came up on my phone as this message cannot be
You
displayed.
know when you go into your phone, you just share
You
contact.
can't share it with a Nokia.
I didn't.
Obviously, how do you think it's going to pop up on
I'm not
his
sure
phone?
how I expected that to go, but I was still astonished when it came up.
If you want to give Hugh a number, you tell him it, he writes it down, and then he types it into his.
He had to do that. He actually went and got a pen and paper.
And if anybody's listening wondering what's happening in Paisley at the football,
Not a lot,
nothing.
exactly,
This is
that's
more
why we're talking
exciting
about this.
to see where Hugh was.
There are only two people in my life like that, Hugh Keevins, and I spent this week trying to help my gran top up her phone. She was still topping it up, and I thought that's a
Still
Hugh,
do that,
that's a
do you?
Hugh Keevinsism. That
Yeah, you can
still
get
need
it.
one to the shop.
no,
top up.
it's advanced now. You
Can buy
you
an
can phone
Asda.
it. You can just phone it in with your bank
Is your
card.
gran in my age group?
Well, yeah, I'd have to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Younger than you.
Younger Hugh.
Most people are younger than me.
not younger than him. He just acts older. Anyway, St Mirren 0, Rangers 0, 11 on the clock, as Gordon says. Not a great deal to get excited about yet, but it is early days. We maintain a bit of hope that it can come to something, but it's very windy in Paisley, and as Philippe Clement, he forecast it before the game, this is absolutely about getting out there with all 3 points.
You know, it's one of the games you're saying it's very windy. You can actually tell it's windy when the ball's on the deck.
Yeah.
You see the ball deviating sometimes when they're trying to pass a simple 10-yard past their teammates. So very difficult. Underfoot seems a bit slippy as well. The surface doesn't look great, especially this left-hand side where Yilmaz has got it. So conditions tricky for both sides.
I was actually thinking in front of the dugouts it looked like it was cutting up as well, so perhaps both sides. There we go, Dujon Sterling in a kind of wide left role, which clearly a man of
great ball in.
many talents.
That
See if
was
you
a
are
good ball.
Matondo and McCausland and you're looking at Sterling playing off the left-hand side. Now I get it's for the greater good of the team if that's what the manager thinks, but still selfishly you are thinking here I am, a winger, and we've got a utility player who was a right back, who's now became a centre midfielder, who's now playing left mid ahead
But
of
it
me.
depends on his tactics today, Mark. I know
but
what you're saying. But
if you're a
Sterling,
striker and you get, I don't know,
Mark Wilson
Dessers
plays
playing
up
in front
front.
of me.
Mark Wilson gets the nod up front instead of you.
because they know I'm going to work harder to press the centre backs.
No, you just run about and look busy. But what I'm going to say, he's actually playing in the three in the middle of the park, going out to the wide area. His width's coming from the two full-backs today. That's what he's looking for.
I'm not sure.
I know they've not been up the pitch.
Dijon Sterling just tried to latch onto a through ball into the box.
Yeah, I know, but he can
John Lundstram.
he can play that middle to out because he's a full-back, remember, so he's comfortable in the wide area, so he can play that position. So I don't see a problem with. I thought he would have played two wide guys because of the formations in play, but he's decided to go with a little bit more compact middle of the park.
Slack pass from James Tavernier allows St Mirren to intercept. Nicholas Raskin, I think it was.
Tavernier tidied up his own mess there.
Couldn't quite reach its intended target.
Just so scrappy.
Yeah.
At the minute from both sides, but St Mirren win the ball there and
Yeah,
they can
Gordon,
play the ball.
Gabriel obviously got a nice view. He's pretty adamant. You can argue about this later. He's playing on the left of the front three. He's not in that midfield three.
He's playing the left of a front three.
Yes.
Gabe's just put you in your
Look at him.
his
Look at where he
place.
is now.
Yeah.
Right, okay. But he can play into out and he can play through the middle.
Your man's
Sounds like he's doing the hokey
I know.
pokey.
He can play anywhere in the H.
Yeah.
Remember that guy told me. Where do you play, son? Anywhere in the
I
H.
can't believe we didn't sign him. Airdrie sounded fantastic.
Anywhere where? In the H. Just put a foot my ground down, put an H on it. I'll play anywhere.
I loved that saying when you told me that. Oh, brilliant.
Anywhere in the H.
Yeah. Loads of them going a bit.
Do you know who I sometimes wonder what he's up to these days? When I'm lying having sleepless nights and my brain wanders, what about the wee guy that just turned
Hold
up?
on.
Let's go.
Yeah, we've got an opener in
He's my
Paisley.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And out of nothing, it's Cyril Dessers. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1, 14 on the clock. Every through ball's been heavy so far, but this one just about within the reach of Dessers. He goes round the keeper, rolls it into the back of the net, and we have an opener in Paisley.
The enigma strikes again. I don't remember him touching the ball up until this point in the game, but he has gone for it. He's definitely onside. And he has simply taken advantage of a crumb. The goalkeeper a bit hesitant there for me.
Defending
but
and
there.
goalkeeping.
Yeah. What I will say is the new Coisty.
Oh, I tell you what, give credit to
Yeah,
Dessers
absolutely.
because
Do that first.
a great run, a great ball, again from Lundstram after he's won on Wednesday night. Great run. His touch is good to go round the goalkeeper, and you know he's been lambasted for some of his finishing, but he tucks that away. But you're right, Gordon.
Is that
Defending.
3-3?
If you're Stephen Robinson, you are furious at
Well,
that.
first of all, how high is the line when there's no pressure on Lundstram? And then to allow Dessers to run inside you, then the goalkeeper, Hugh's right. He comes, he stops. Oh,
Is that
what a
3-3, Gordon? Sorry. Many's that he's now got for the season?
11 in all
And
competitions.
8 in the league. I know that for a fact.
Because you got it wrong on Beat the Pundit the other night.
Yeah, I did. But listen, I keep saying he's one of these guys that you keep
12 in all competitions.
Yeah, it could be.
Actually.
You change your mind every time you see
12
him.
in all competitions it is, yep.
But I love the fact that he kept trying against Dumbarton, got his goal, which you're expecting against Dumbarton. The chance you made, I thought his goal on Wednesday was unreal. And today, that is a composed finish. And that guy that phoned in and said
he's the new Ali
he's
McCoy.
the new Ali McCoy has got something going here. Wait until hear the amount
The
of tweets that come in now.
goalkeeper, for me, the goalkeeper was on the not so brave side of hesitant. He has to be doing more.
First chance St Mirren, and it's didn't quite catch it at the back post. It bounces down, and it looked spectacular, but I think it was an easy catch.
Save for the
Jack
cameras, they used to
Butland.
call that. Save for the cameras.
And that's kind of what we said, Mark. You accept that you're underdog and second best and all that stuff. If you're St Mirren, that the chances of you getting something in a game like this, if you defend like that, really slim. Because we have given Cyril Dessers credit, and it's a great finish, but you know that he's not lightning quick. You shouldn't be that much, and they've done it again. You know,
Yeah,
the
must be
line,
offside, must be offside.
the line was just.
Well, you've got to choose one or the other. If you're going to high press and put pressure on the ball, then the line can be up to allow your front players to press. If you're dropping deep and your front players aren't pressing when Lundstram gets the ball, then you have got to deepen. But it was a mixture are both going wrong. Nobody pressed, and they had a high line which allowed Dessers to run in. Now you've got to give credit to the striker, because I'm pretty sure the manager would have instructed him, look, get runs in behind. You seen Yilmaz the other night at Easter Road do it. You seen Dessers just do it there, and it allows the midfielders to know that they've got those runners. Dessers' link-up play isn't great, but by the way, he certainly can shift.
Once again,
when he gets going.
I've got to say, Lundstrom's in good form. I picked out Yilmaz the other night, as Mark quite rightly highlighted there. And then that's another. You've got to depend on the ball. If you make that run, it's got to be a quality ball. Lundstrom's played that to him. Yeah, you can pick bones on St Mirren's high line and their defensive and their goalkeeper, but once you get into that situation, it's all about composure. Dessers showed that, and it was a very, very good finish.
If you're the goalkeeper, you want to test his composure a bit, don't you?
Yeah, he made it easy for him, Gordon.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper made it easy. There's no doubt in that. Dessers would have been delighted with the goalkeeper's actions.
And now for St Mirren, you're thinking, well, the game plan kind of goes out the window a bit. You want to keep it tight, you're wide open now, but we've seen them actually throwing a few balls into the Rangers box after that. But again, you leave yourself open then for the counter-attack, and this game could be out of sight before you know it.
I think that St Mirren are looking at Mark to try and get down Yilmaz's side. I think if you look at Hibs the other night, now I like Yilmaz. I think he's come on to a game at Rangers, terrific goal Wednesday night, but any chances that Hibs did have and create was down his side, and I think that St Mirren have recognised that and tried to play balls down there.
Yeah, 18 and a half gone in Paisley. That goal, exactly what Rangers were looking for as well, Mark. You're looking for it to come early on. It just makes such a difference, doesn't it? It doesn't allow that frustration to set in.
Well, without doubt, in days like today, where you see the conditions in places like St Mirren, you know it's going to be a tough game. And then, as Hugh's mentioned, the pressure, when it gets to this stage in the title, you've had a fantastic away win at Easter Road. The last thing you want to do is go into this game and it drags on and you don't get a goal, and all of a sudden St Mirren start feeling a wee bit like they've got a chance. If you can get that going, was it 13 minutes? Settles everybody down, and it begins an enjoyable experience, an enjoyable game, where before it's quite tense at this stage.
See where Stephen Robertson will be disappointed. Seeing you play Rangers and Celtic and they score against you, which they can do no problem because they've got quality players. The one thing you'll say to your players is make them work for it. Make them earn that right to go and score against you. It was too easy, and when you give it easy to guys with the quality Rangers got, they'll just pick you open.
Nice pass, John Lundstrom, though, wasn't it? He's done that a few times recently, that clipped ball chance, St Mirren, and it's Kwon as well, and it's a big chance, and he absolutely miscues. It sits up nice for him inside the box, and it goes high and wide. That is a big opportunity for the on loan Celtic player of all people.
Those opportunities won't come too often this afternoon, and it is a gift for Kwon, and the finish is reckless and it's all wrong, nothing right about it at all, and that is just horrible.
He's got to go and meet that for me. I think he waits for that to take a bounce. I think if he goes and meets that and just puts his foot right through the ball, I think he's causing problems there. I'm not saying people go, oh, that's a sitter, it's not a sitter, but I think he's got to do a lot better.
No, not somewhere in, no way a sitter, but I actually think that's a really big chance.
Yeah, massive.
Without doubt.
He gets caught in. Does he get caught in between? Like he tries to sort of side foot it, and as Gordon says, maybe you put the laces through it, or
I'm amazed he tries to side foot that there.
Because the irony is you side foot it for a bit more control, and yet he seemed to lose all control with it.
A bare minimum requirement.
As Rangers almost double their goes wide.
Bare minimum requirement. You've got to have it in between the post and underneath the bar, which he fails to do, and you've also got to work Jack Butland, which he failed to do. It's just a terrible finish.
He looked at a lack of belief, by the way, there when he was going to take that on. Like he couldn't believe that the balls fell to him just about 16 yards in the middle of the goal as well. Yep, Daz is right. He needs to put his laces through that and make the goalkeeper work.
They're very lucky that Rangers have not gone up the park and really punished him, because Tavernier, what a strike that was, and I think it hit the outside of the post. So we're seeing it again, Gordon. I could be wrong, but I'm sure this clip's outside the post. Goalkeeper beaten, absolutely no chance there. Yeah, it certainly does, and that just shows you, if you've got an opportunity against Rangers, you've got to take it, because all of a sudden this game could be away from you.
A bit of sad news coming out of Celtic this afternoon, Hugh, and it's that former Celtic player Stuart Gray has sadly passed away at the age of just 50. as many people will know, famous footballing family. The son of Scotland and Leeds hero Eddie Gray came through the ranks at Celtic Park. I think it was about 6 years with Celtic in the 90s. Made 28 appearances it was, and tragic under any circumstances, but at the age of 50, no age at all, as I'm sure everyone would agree. And I think the Celtic players are going to wear black armbands this afternoon.
As well they should. Speaking as the father of a 51-year-old daughter and a 52-year-old son, I can only imagine the grief in the Gray household this afternoon. Eddie, one of the great Leeds United players, came from Glasgow, went down there, part of the whole Don Revie organisation at Leeds. Frank Gray, also at Leeds, Stuart's uncle Frank, another Glaswegian. They were a family who all supported Celtic. It was a great honour and privilege for Stuart to play for Celtic. He was the loveliest of people, I can tell you from personal experience. Just a polite, well brought up, well mannered young man, and that is beyond tragedy. And Celtic will recognise what has taken place in the traditional way this afternoon. I can only send my condolences to Eddie.
Yeah, well said. Sad news indeed, and Celtic will mark that sad passing this afternoon ahead of the game against Ross County. Back in Paisley with 23 now gone, it is St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. The bar was fairly low, but maybe a slightly better reaction now from St Mirren. Are we seeing a little bit more, just thinking that Kwon chance and
they're starting to put a couple of passes together. Great chance for St Mirren, but obviously you can say a good chance for Tavernier. Unlucky. I just watched Dessers there getting a good position. Gogic very strong. I was speaking to him yesterday at the school again. Says hello.
Sounds like an in-depth conversation.
Yeah, we seem to just nod, and we're now at the hello stage. But yeah, I think that Stephen Robinson would have wanted a reaction, and I think they're doing a bit better. I really do. But it's one of these games that, if you look at it and Rangers score the next goal, there'll be absolutely no way back for something.
Cyril Dessers up to 8 league goals. He's still a few behind the likes of Shankland and Miovski and O'Reilly, etc. But who will score more this season, Dessers or Kyogo? Both on 8.
Well, and those goals, however many they get, will be arguably what makes a difference in the title race. So Dessers, there's no doubt. We had people on here. I mean, you remember the man who described his attempt at goal against Celtic as an atrocity. That was the kind of criticism that Dessers was encouraging here on Super Scoreboard. But slowly but surely he is changing the minds of the Rangers supporters. You don't have to look the silkiest, you don't have to have the best link-up play. All the fans are interested in at this stage of the season is that somebody gets the goals that tip the balance in the Championship, and Dessers is now making a contribution.
I think Mark made a great point on Thursday night in the show for once, and he was talking about, Dessers scoring in I know that every game's a big game, but the usual, a cup final, a Celtic game or whatever, and I'd like to see how he goes on from then. He scored against Dumbarton, come on, scored against Hibs, terrific goal. Great composure. He looked differently going through there because he had time to think about it, and he was composed. Okay, the goalkeeper helped him out, but you still got to go by the goalkeeper and calmly put it into the net. I keep saying, one minute I see him, I think, yep, he's going to score goals. He'll not have the greatest link-up play, as Hugh quite rightly says, but he'll do Rangers a real turn. And then the next time you see him, you're thinking, oof, he's went back the way again. But fair credit to a lad, 3-3 so far. Can't ask for better.
I think he pays his way. Every time he scores a goal, he pays his way.
That's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the box.
A soul on that.
Yeah, Connor Goldson. Wonder if he would maybe get into the book for that. I don't think so. I think the spray is coming out, although the St Mirren players are making the point. Really good actually on the edge of the box. Just rolled, Goldson slid in. And if St Mirren were defending it, they'd be worried because it's James Tavernier territory. If it was up the other end, I don't know who in the St Mirren team's got it in their locker, but they'll certainly give it a go. So it's maybe about a yard or two outside the box. Are we using the too close cliche?
Yeah, roll this to O'Hara. Surely O'Hara's in about it, isn't it?
Oh no, I think you can get that arm down. No, I'd do. I'd move the spray like
Tony.
Yeah, I think the referees are watching.
It's
that
set up for a right footer, but I think it's the two left footers that are over it.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. Tanzer's got a good left foot. He's got that in his locker.
Yeah, here it comes, the free kick, and it's way over it.
Oh, it's too close.
Poor.
Too close, Mark.
Too close.
Too close.
You need to
coming from an expert free kick taker.
Well, listen, I scored one in the Dundee Derby one time, and what I thought was I was wide.
Is that the one that bounced 3 times before it went in?
Listen, it's all about thinking, Gordon. You can't just think let's go over the wall all the time. You've got to assess your angles. I was like a snooker player.
And fair play to you, because the technique, I've never seen a ball bounce 3 times from a free kick and go. I've genuinely never seen it.
Nice.
To be fair, you come in here on Thursday night dressed like a snooker player, the way you were going about your business.
The velvet jacket and then a treat.
How was the burn supper? There was a lot of interesting feedback from people who watched the show on the live stream after you coming in with the velvet blazer on.
Well, I just walked in the door and the guy says, I like your jacket. I says, oh, thanks very much. Thought he was being serious. He went, no, I was listening to a show. I heard you getting stick.
Wasn't the best, was it?
And it all came together perfectly.
It
was on the night that he revealed that he likes to do a bit of Westlife on karaoke. Mark Wilson. What did you make of that?
Who doesn't he?
Do you know, we'll do that for your 40th
karaoke booth.
Aye, and we'll get a wee bit of Westlife. I'll try and get one of the boys to come over for Ireland.
I keep watching
good contacts.
You know them? Yeah.
Good contacts, yeah.
I keep watching the clip back. See when we played the song for you. There is a split second that you look like you're about to sing.
And you know what it was? I was very close to it, just because I had the jacket and that on.
I've studied it. There's a moment where your eyes light up and you lean forward a bit, and I think he's going to sing here. He's giving us a bit, and then
I think if you'd have went with another number, he would have. I think that's a hard number.
But that's the one he said. He said that was his go-to song.
What's your other one you like?
Flying Without Wings.
That's the one.
We can't have that.
Oh yeah, I'll be with
Swear
you.
it all over again. Do you want to keep going with the Westlife songs?
Listen, nothing. I've been to see Westlife a few times. Good. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Not as many times as him.
Oh, he's a fan.
No, 7 times. Yeah.
7?
That's unacceptable. I would say. I'm partial to a ballad the same as anyone else, but 7 times.
You know what? There wasn't much other acts doing the rounds at that time, so every time they came, I would go along.
Hugh, as a man who went to Eddie Reader last night, do you approve of Mark Wilson's 7 trips to see Westlife?
I would reckon I've probably seen Eddie 7 times.
There we go.
A bit over.
From Mulgai Town Hall to the Royal Concert Hall. So I've nothing wrong with that.
Thanks, you.
Shane Duffy, was he in Westlife?
No, he was in the other one.
Oh, who was in Westlife? Who was in Westlife then?
Oh, you wouldn't know any.
Mark's just fighting the temptation to rhyme them all off. Middle names, star signs, shoe sizes, the lot.
Oh, just in case I can get one of them over for you.
What was the football connection?
Was it the guy? Was it Keane? Was the Leeds goalkeeper, or Nicky? Nicky was the Leeds goalkeeper.
I didn't know he was a goalie. I knew he was Leeds.
Aye.
You sure?
Are you sure he was a goalie?
It's a bit small for a goalkeeper.
Was he? Have I made that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Patrick Keelty in goal? Brilliant.
No, surprisingly enough.
He did a testimonial at Celtic Park.
St Mirren.
Good save. Jack Butland. That's what he tends to do. I think the flag was up anyway, but signs of life from St Mirren.
They're growing into the game. They are. They're getting a bit of encouragement. They're starting to. Yeah, it's offside.
Mark, I should have known not to question Mark. He was indeed a goalkeeper.
I don't question my Westlife knowledge. Nah, I knew he was a goalkeeper.
He's 5'9".
Yeah, you wonder why he didn't make it.
Kept getting low.
No shock.
So they gave him a mic on the Christmas night out, and that was it. Realised he was a good singer.
Well, that's how they get the lead singer in, because they didn't fancy him because of his height at the original, and then they sneaked him in.
What are you on about?
That's true. Look that up.
Westlife?
Yeah. What's the lead singer's boy's name again? Wee boy in the middle.
Is it Shane?
Is it Shane?
Shane Fearon?
Yeah. Apparently he wasn't getting a member of the because they thought his stature was a bit small and his mates sneaked him in.
I should never know when he's telling the truth.
I know, I told you. Pathological liar.
Where'd you get that from?
Do you know something? See, I've made that up. I'm quite happy with that. Right, but I don't think I have.
But you're not supposed to be happy with making things up. You're supposed to tell the truth.
Hugh,
That's a good point to you.
I make everything up. I don't. Honestly, I get up in the morning and I think, right,
Speaking of which, right, something's really
I know what's coming. I'm surprised we've got to this stage and we've not mentioned
I
this.
think we'll leave that.
Something's really been annoying me because we didn't have much time to chat before the show. I was a bit late, I had things on this morning, and I've arrived here to see you hobbling across the car park with a crutch. Now usually I wouldn't laugh at someone else's misfortune,
But it's mine.
but like Winston Ingram there coming across the car park.
I was.
Why do you,
With an Asda carrier bag.
what could possibly have happened to you that you need this crutch?
I've done my ankle.
How though? You don't run or
You
any
don't need to run to hurt your ankle, Gordon. You should know that.
but how have you done it?
It's a bit of a mystery. But just let me say that I've been struggling, and I need to get myself recovered.
But this
because
is-
I'm supposed to be playing golf tomorrow.
This is really annoying me, right? But he is.
You see the size of it? It's like a balloon.
That's certainly not. It
No, but,
gave that-
massive.
but this is really annoying me because granted, like you do live a kind of weird and colourful life.
Yeah.
But even by your stat, what is it you've done to your ankle that you're unwilling to tell us about? How do you know what I mean? What are the possibilities here, Mark Wilson?
No, because you're not very active apart from the golf course.
Look,
Unless
if
you've
he'd
taken a
said
slip.
if he'd said to me, look, I've put my hip out and I'm not telling you how I've done it, I would be right. Okay, I see where this is going. But what have you? How? What have you been up to?
I really can't explain my ankle, right? But all I'll say is that I'm very much in pain. That's all I'm going to disclose just now.
But why just one crutch? What's
'Cause
that
the other
one
one's
crutch?
in the car. I didn't want to bring two. I thought that would look
But
bad.
you're supposed to use it. You were just walking with it in your hand when you came in.
No. I'm
It was like a
taking-
benefits cheat, wasn't it? He was just dangling it.
I'm waiting for
Oh,
the.
maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
I'm waiting for a social.
The way he dangled it as he was going to the fridge for his milk, I noticed was quite suspect.
Oh, you are Winston Ingram.
You've given that away now.
Well, we wish you a speedy recovery because when he says the ankle was like a balloon, he then
Balloon.
pulled up
Yeah,
his two tracky bottoms
a deflated balloon.
and
It's tiny.
they look the same.
Catch yourself on. Seriously.
Honestly, right,
There's no sympathy in this show at all for me.
you will get zero sympathy from me till you tell me how you did it. I'm not having a mystery, secretive ankle injury. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's just a mystery how you wake up in the morning.
No,
with
but it's not
with
that.
with a big swollen
What one
thing.
is it? That left one there?
I see. You know, look at the size of that.
Okay, I can hardly get his.
Look.
His
Don't make
Tracking, but-
don't make me throw it out to Twitter first to
You
You
ask.
can
get a
throw it into
picture.
Twitter if you want.
Get a picture.
No, I don't mean
of
that. I
both.
was just
People were
gonna say-
walking by me yesterday going, I think you've broken your ankle, sir.
Get your suggestions in as to what's happened to Gordon Dalziel's ankle. I'm a bit worried about that.
Quick
To be
getaway,
fair-
and he's slipped over.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, Jamie makes an excellent point. He says that just before the Rangers goal, you started a sentence with, "Do you ever wonder what happened to that wee guy?" Then you were interrupted by the goal. I've got no idea who you're talking about, but I've been driving to Celtic Park for the last 20 minutes wondering what on earth happened to him, which is a good point. Do you remember I started that sentence?
The Brecon boy.
It was going to be the Brecon trialist. Remember Davy?
we
guy,
did.
Remember the guy who drove from London
I do think about him sometimes.
to
He's on City's books.
to demand a trial at your Brecon team, and you just sent him on his way.
No, I let him. Remember, I let him join in. So he turned up, coach him here. Why? and his reasoning was he looked in all the teams in the Scottish League and we were rock bottom, and he thought
I've got a game there.
that's the very place to start.
Did they not say he would play anywhere for you, coach?
Played anywhere, and he kept calling me coach. So I said, right, go and join the warm up. And that's where he peaked, because remember the guys were just jogging round the half pitch that we had, and he was hailing it round in front,
Right up the front. I like
up the
that,
front.
trying to leave an impression.
So enthusiastic until the balls came out, and then Davy hadn't had much technical work with the ball in his previous coaching.
Wondered where that was
I'll
going
tell
there.
you what.
I thought he'd just tried to make a real impression.
See
at training.
if he stands out in Brecon, he must be really bad, eh? Because let's face it, I would put Hugh in that team that Mark managed, and I think he would probably
better
get a game.
movement. Hugh would have better movement than a few of them.
Wee Davy the trialist.
Wee Davy, I wonder what he's
I
up
think
to.
we need to put a search party out for him.
Think
He's
of
listening,
Davy's
phone in.
expenses, because he drove from London to Brecon,
Wee
but we
Davy.
didn't train at Brecon. So he got to Brecon and somebody at the office. That's how poorly run things were at that time. Got to the office and somebody says, "No, they don't train here, son. They trained in at Grangemouth, so just make your way down there,
which is nowhere near Brecon.
Without
Davy hadn't
telling me,
noticed.
by the way, this guy called Davy turned up and he wants to join in. No communication. Davy just pitches up. Somebody from the office said to drive another 110 miles.
Anyway,
Davy.
I'll keep an eye out for any big moves in the January window. 36.5 gone. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. That's Cyril Desser's goal. The difference between the teams. I wonder if, as much as Philippe Clement will be happy to be in front, he would have been looking for a bit more dominance by now. You sometimes think the first goal is the catalyst to kick on. It's not really happened.
A bit of a mixed bag. I think you're right. Clean sheet so far, leading 1-0. He already said it and before the game.
Yeah, he'll take it.
Yeah, it was going to be a difficult probably afternoon, in the sense of not sexy football. But I think that some of the times they're just giving the ball away a little bit too cheaply, and they're encouraging St Mirren. Oh, it's another good save from Butland. They're encouraging St Mirren to, put them under a little bit of pressure, which you won't like.
Fair play to Kwon. He's stuck in. He's had a horrible miss early in the game, and that was Kwon's. No, I beg your pardon. Yes, it was. It was Kwon. Yeah. So he has not been dispirited by what happened early on, and St Mirren going for the psychological lift of a goal before half time.
I think St Mirren have responded not badly, Mark, to the goal.
I would say so. Like I was saying, you have a game plan to sit in, and then once Rangers score, it sometimes goes out the window. But after Rangers scored, St Mirren had a fair few entries into Rangers' box. They've had a few opportunities, few shots in goal. Butland made a couple of saves. So yeah, Stephen Robinson will be happy with that. Bitterly disappointed with the defend for the goal, but he'll be happy with how his team's managed this part of the game. Disappointed.
Kwon's shot there was very, very close. Jack Butland did save another one with his foot, but the free kick again failed the test of in between the posts and underneath the bar.
Just seeing a replay, there would have been a bit of well, in fact, I wonder if the goal would have stood actually if it had gone in, because that would have been the same attacking phase of play, I assume. Certainly looked like there was a St Mirren player offside, and I don't really know why.
I wondered at the time
he was allowed to go and challenge for the ball.
Yeah, because Tavernier seemed pretty certain not to challenge for the ball. The St Mirren winger was offside. Was it Kilty and made that run? Was offside, and he just stood and watched it. And then obviously the challenge comes a bit after that. The disappointing thing would be if something came from the corner.
Was the winger off? Mark, I know
that's a good point. Sorry, yeah, because then it couldn't have been ruled out by VAR. Yeah. The frustrating thing for Stephen Robinson would be that's not a possibility when your corner kick taker fires it straight at the nearest defender.
Did you see the corner flag though when he was taking it?
Yeah.
It's breezy.
Yeah.
But even more reason though to really get a bit of height on it and try and
get it right on top of Butland.
I know Jack Butland's good, but it can always be difficult for goalkeepers in those situations.
Desser's goal apart, Rangers have not threatened the St Mirren goal at all, and that would be the disappointing thing. Well, yeah, Tavernier, that's right, outside the post. But a severe lack of pressure being put on a goalkeeper who did not distinguish himself when Rangers took the lead.
Yeah, Rangers up the pitch for the first time in the last few minutes, certainly. 40 minutes gone now. Still, that's Cyril Desser's goal to nil. As Yilmaz comes across and takes the throw in. You wonder what the future holds for him after yesterday, the revelation that Brazilian left back Jefty looks like he's on his way to Ibrox. Gordon, I know you're a big fan of Borna Barisic.
Yeah, but lately I think Yilmaz has went in there and he's played well, got a good goal in Wednesday night, got to say, terrific. I think he's just a typical fullback for me. I think going forward he's excellent. You get good pace about him, he can put nice balls in. I don't think he's got the quality of Barisic, I've got to say in that. But defensively I think there's a question mark about him, especially balls played into back post. He doesn't desire that great height, and I think that teams do target down that side against Rangers.
I think without doubt he's a better defender than Barisic, and I do agree with Daz to some extent that defensively he isn't watertight, but he's better than Barisic at the back. Barisic was becoming a bit of a liability.
Would you agree that Barisic has got
quality,
better delivery?
Yeah.
So that's where you've got to really
look at Yilmaz the other night. It's not like he's not contributing going forward.
I was going to say,
great goal.
I think Yilmaz has got better energy, and he's quicker and he's sharper at going forward, and he'll make those runs probably in behind. Barisic likes to play behind the ball, likes to get it to his feet and then, whip those balls in for deep, where Yilmaz will overlap your winger and get into those dangerous positions. So I think he merits his place in the side. I've been saying a long time. By the way, the first couple of times I seen Yilmaz, he came into the team, he dropped out. I said right away, I think this guy looks a better bet than Barisic does. And Barisic's been a great servant for Rangers, no doubt, but everybody has a timeline at big clubs, and I think Barisic has come to be at the end of his.
Obviously Barisic probably will leave Rangers, right? So what your argument is quite simple. Would Rangers be looking to bring in a left back if Yilmaz was going to stay as well? Is okay, you can say he's backup, but is it a backup
unless
player?
it's a view to sell Yilmaz?
Yeah, I know what Mark's saying, and and probably people listening to this show will have the opinion on Barisic or Yilmaz, and
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. But for me, if it was the most important game, a cup final tomorrow, and you had everybody fit, I'd play Barisic.
Chance now for Rangers.
Yeah, Rangers into the box. Bit of defending to be done for Gordon's pal Alex Gogic.
Yeah,
Dessers does well there, because he's never favourite for it, but he manages to put the St Mirren backline under pressure. Once he wins it, actually, he's got nice composure in the box just to stop it. But it's that final bit, just finding a man. Gogic gets back and rectifies his error.
Well, Dessers, he's warming to it. He's shown that it was the right idea from the manager to do what he did and reintroduce Dessers today. He's paid his way with the goal, and Rangers looking for a bit of a grandstand finish to the first half.
Much like the game in midweek, when you look at the game at Easter Road, a second goal now, just that's it. It kills the game. Todd Cantwell did it, didn't he? At Easter Road. That's what the next couple of minutes could look like for Rangers.
Yeah, if you're St Mirren, you're thinking, right, okay, not ideal, but we're still in this game. If you're Rangers, you're thinking the second will probably kill it, like you said there, Gordon, about Easter Road. That's what happened there. But I just feel this next goal's got to be important. I think it would give St Mirren such a lift, but if Rangers get it, then there's absolutely no way back, in my opinion.
43.5. This is a really, really poor header from St Mirren. I don't know if the conditions played a part. I was going to say poor header actually doesn't qualify because it bounced right over his head, and I thought Cyril Dessers was going to be in behind. St Mirren do come away with it, and some defending to be done.
The ball just causing havoc there, a simple ball over the top, but you could always see the wind was taking it towards the touchline. Ayunga couldn't keep it in. So the same as it was at the beginning, testy conditions. Maybe that's why we've seen a lack of goalmouth activity after the goal.
Not only is Philippe Clement good at getting this team to win games, maybe he can tell the future. He did say it wasn't going to be a sexy game of football.
Yes.
Certainly.
To be fair to the man, he played at Dumbarton and the conditions were horrendous, and he got his 4 goals there, and he's obviously had a look about him in Paisley, and the wind is awful.
Seems to be blowing across the pitch as well, doesn't it? Which is causing one or two difficulties.
As Mark said, the ball is moving and deviating, and all sorts are happening. So he might just be about happy with his 1 goal lead, but Stephen Robinson will not be happy with his side because they've had chances.
I just wonder if St Mirren will make a change.
James Scott.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah,
James Scott. He saw the camera going on James Scott and Stephen Robinson chanting to him.
I've got
detective work.
I've got a funny feeling they may just be saying, look, it's second half for you, and tweak 1 or 2 things.
Well, 1 minute added on in Paisley, so I don't think we'll have much more action really, because Cyril Dessers has committed a foul over on the touchline, and St Mirren not in any great rush to take it. Maybe time for the goalkeeper just to launch it forward, but no, he's having a good old conversation with the assistant on that near side instead. So I don't know if St Mirren are.
He's stalling for time because he knows what's going to happen when he goes in at half time. What happened to you at the goal will be the first question. I think
ask what's happened to the midfield closing down, ask what happened to the defenders, and then ask him what happened to him. But in the Rangers' point of view, good ball, good composure, good goal. Can't take it away from him.
I never understand why teams don't play with a bit more urgency towards the end of a half. They always seem to sort of just accept their lot, and that is it. Half time in Paisley, Gabriel.
Yes, Gordon, half-time here, and Rangers are 1-0 up against St Mirren. A great through ball and an equally tidy finish from Cyril Dessers gives the visitors the lead. The Gers went ahead after just 14 minutes at the windy Smyser Stadium out here in Paisley. John Lundstrom afforded time in the middle of the park, and once again, a brilliant through ball over the top from the midfielder. It was for Dessers with a perfectly timed run. He took it round the keeper and tucked it away. That's 3-3 for the striker and 12 goals for the season. Rangers obviously in control. Captain James Tavernier clipped the outside of the post from 25 yards a few minutes later, but that was their only other real chance of note. St Mirren certainly still in this. They started to put together some decent pressure, and they grew into the game after going behind. Elvis Wamono, the first for goalkeeper Jack Butland to collect. Hyok Koo Kwon cued his strike really. Lewis Jameson then put a close free kick way over the bar and forced Jack Butland to make a good save a few minutes later when it looked like he should have scored, although it was later flagged offside. The Rangers not threatened enough for Philippe Clement's liking, but they are in the lead, and as the Belgians said, Gordon, this game will not be sexy, it's all about winning, and that's what they're doing at the moment. As it stands, they'll trim Celtic's lead at the top to just 2 points before their game at 3 o'clock. A big second half coming up next. At the interval, it's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
I thought McMenamin had come up to tamper with Gabriel's equipment there, but
we had one or two technical difficulties, but we heard Gabriel for the most part, Hugh.
Yeah.
And scoreline, is that everything for Philippe Clement at the moment?
That's the only thing, and it's the only thing for Brendan Rodgers later in the day as well. We've now arrived at that stage in the season where one false move and it could cost you the title. So Philippe Clement, with his winning record at Rangers since becoming manager, would regard it as a major blow were he not to take all 3 points from Paisley. And he has got there to the halfway stage on very little so far. Yes, Tavernier struck the outside of the post. Yes, Dessers got the benefit of a goalkeeper who wasn't brave enough in the final analysis. But Rangers haven't done enough to go after goal number 2. And I think Clement will be making that point in the dressing room, because 1-0 is not a secure lead, it is a precarious lead.
Yeah, pretty drab first half, but an excellent goal from a Rangers point of view in terms of the pass played through from Lundstrom, the run from Dessers and the touch and finish. But Hugh's right, there's not been much happening for Rangers from an attacking point of view after that. For St Mirren, after the goal, I think they've reacted better. I think a lot of the action has been in the Rangers half. You know, they've had a couple of corner kicks, Butland's made a couple of saves, they've been in the box a couple of times, so Stephen Robinson will be happy with that. It's just when he gets there, he needs to find a bit of calmness and composure in the box to actually put the ball in the net when they create those chances. So Daz might be right. I mean, we might see James Scott coming on for St Mirren, but Clement as well. I wonder if he's thinking, yeah, we'll just stick with this just now because it's scrappy, it's going to continue to be scrappy, and we'll just need to fight our way through and take a 1-0.
Yeah, Stephen Robinson, Gordon might be thinking on the balance of things, it may be slightly harsh to be behind, but it was a poor moment from them, a very good moment from Rangers. And that's really all that separates the sides.
Yeah, it's not been the best game, first 45 plus minutes I've watched, but I think Gab sums it up perfectly from Rangers' point of view. It's not about having a terrific game of football. It's all about winning the 3 points, putting a bit of pressure on Celtic this afternoon. But for St Mirren, I think they've got to find something a little bit different. Yes, they've improved since the goal. There's slight encouragement there from one or two of their players, but I think that he may just look at tweaking the system to try and cause Rangers a problem.
And interesting, 45 minutes in Paisley, not a lot of goal mouth action, conditions playing a part, but the important thing from a Rangers perspective, they do lead at the break. What will the second half bring? You'll find out next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Accident not your fault? You'll be back on the road within 24 hours. Tackle the headlines. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in Paisley, and it's that man Cyril Dessers. He's been widely discussed on this show all season long. Some Rangers fans in particular have said some fairly critical things about him, but you get the sense the tide is starting to turn. That's him up to 8 league goals for the season, 12 in all competitions, and it's his goal that separates the sides in Paisley. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. It came early. You may have thought at that point Rangers would really kick on and take the game by the scruff of the neck. That's not happened. St Mirren will definitely feel like they're in this, but as it stands at the break, it is the visitors who lead the match. Gabriel is watching on in Paisley. Gabriel, sometimes you can get a bit of a clue. You look at the subs to see if anyone's been called in. Can you see any imminent changes?
Nothing yet, Gordon. The Rangers actually have all of their players in, while St Mirren have got players warming up to the left hand side. I mean, nothing from Rangers, so perhaps there could be a few changes for Philippe Clement. As we were saying, he'll want more going forwards from his side, but he did pick a team that is perhaps slightly more defensive when you've got someone like Dujon Sterling, who's typically a defender, actually playing left wing in the forward line almost. And as Gordon was saying just before the end of the half, maybe St Mirren will change a thing or two, because they really came in to it in the second half there. The final 15-20 minutes, they were the ones that were playing in Rangers half and starting to create a few opportunities, but nothing as I can see yet, Gordon. I will let you know if we have any changes before the second half starts.
You gave all the credit in the world to Dessers, and he deserves it for sure. Is the Kwon chance the one that, if this game was to end now, is that the one that keeps Stephen Robinson up tonight?
Probably. The Dazzlers made the point that he should have gone to the ball, made a better attempt at it. It's a gift. I wouldn't use the word sitter, but it's a gift. It's a real chance for you to take advantage, and he simply passed up on it. But you get the impression, based on what we've seen so far, that other chances of that type will fall St Mirren's way. Rangers haven't been the most resolute at the back, and they haven't been the most cutting at the other end of the park.
The way I sum it up, Hugh, is he's got to make the goalkeeper work.
Yeah,
I think it's a great opportunity. I'm not saying that he scores, but make the goalkeeper work. I think he sits back on it instead of just going meeting it head on. If he does that, he puts his foot through it. I think he's causing Rangers problems.
He's actually done well, Kwon. For someone who was absolutely out of the picture at Celtic, he's gone there, did well in his first game, and he's had a contribution to make here. But that chance was a gift.
Do we have to acknowledge, Mark, that it probably is the conditions that have ruined the game? It's not even as simple as, the ball running through to the goalkeeper or holding up in the wind. It's coming across, it's swirling. Anytime the ball moves towards the side of the pitch, it seems to go out. Players are struggling to keep it in. I do think it probably is worth cutting everyone some slack.
Yeah, without doubt. I think anyone who plays football at any level will understand, you can play in almost any conditions, but wind will ruin any game of football, and it's quite evident on today's first half showing that that's what's happening. Philippe Clement might have foresaw that with the weather report maybe, or what the way he expected St Mirren to play as well. But the players, both sides, even try to play a 10-yard pass, are finding it incredibly difficult to keep control of the ball. But what Rangers did was, when they did have an opportunity, and it's an incredibly difficult ball, if we're talking about the wind swirling as well, so it needs to be perfect. Lundstrom got that spot on, and they take the opportunity when it did come along. Listen, that goal might just be enough to win this game. That's how poor the quality's been in the first half. That one moment of quality from Lundstrom and Dessers might just be enough to get you 3 points.
Is there anything Philippe Clement can do to try and get a bit more of a control on it, Gordon? I'm assuming he's not sitting in that dressing room thinking, well, you know what, it's windy and therefore there's nothing I can do. He must have some sort of thoughts about trying to get a bit more control, just to try and secure this game.
It's one or two things. You can look at it and think, we're winning 1-0, but St Mirren are still in this game. I'm going to try and go and win it and make a change. Or he gives it the 15-20 minutes and then brings on some wide players, bit of pace to try and get in behind St Mirren, cause them problems. But he'll look at the conditions this afternoon, and it's not been pretty, we all know that, but it's about winning. It's about going to these grounds at this time and picking up 3 points.
Teams are starting to emerge again from the tunnel in Paisley. Anything you can see, Gabriel? If not, just run us through the starting 11s ahead of this second half.
Gone quiet.
He's away for his pie.
Just enjoying some GBX.
He thought he was off the hook.
I'm cutting some slack. I wonder if there's a really lengthy delay because he was sounding a bit robotic. Not personally.
I can see him running up the stairs in the telly. Quick, hurry up.
Do you know what? You actually can see him on the TV as well.
Oh, no,
Exactly.
Oh, by the way, double change for Rangers. Is Gabriel not with us? Gabriel, can you hear us? Earth to
Yes,
Gabriel.
Gordon.
Yes, we've got you now. What are the changes?
No delay this time. Changes. We've got Tom Lawrence and Ross McCausland coming on for Rangers. It's for Todd Cantwell and Scott Wright. So Dujon Sterling staying in his left wing position. It'll be Ross McCausland on the right hand side of attack and Tom Lawrence as the number 10. So 2 changes for Rangers, nothing for St Mirren. Huge second half coming up here in Paisley.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Get the help you need to quit with the smoking cessation programme.
Well, man to my left was right. He did say that Philippe Clement might look at it and maybe change his wide players. He certainly changed one of them with McCausland on for Scott Wright, who I've just turned there and says I forgot he was playing. Did he even touch a ball in that first half? McCausland right on it, right at the start of the second half. And Cantwell, well, you know, takes one step forward, 2 steps back.
Flatters to deceive.
Yeah, but
I wonder if he's carrying an injury.
yeah, listen, he took off at Easter Road, and I think they've played him. He might be carrying that little bit knock. He's not changed systems, he's changed personnel. He's just freshened it up with different bodies. And you know, you're right, Scott Wright, I didn't even notice he was on the pitch. So, and it's a big afternoon for Tom Lawrence as well. Another minutes under his belt. But I wouldn't be jumping on Cantwell too quickly. I think that you might find after a game the manager will say, look, he picked up an injury, I took him off at half time Wednesday. He might be feeling, you know, the effects of that.
I know sometimes we say that about a lot of players. Oh, did he even get involved? But didn't really see him. I wonder how many times Scott Wright touched the ball, because every time, not through his fault, every time we saw anything develop, it was Yilmaz and Sterling maybe. Even the goal, it was central area. Never really seen Tavernier or Scott Wright down that right hand side in the first half.
And I think that's the way Clement does business. You know, the famous night or infamous night when he took Cantwell off.
Cantwell did sorry if someone said it, Cantwell did have a knock during the week, didn't he?
Yeah, he took off
So
half time.
chances are.
That's what I'm saying, Gordon. You can't jump on the guy because he might have just decided, look, we'll risk it 45 minutes. No, he might be feeling.
But the thing is, if it's anything serious, you could head down and give him your spare crutch.
Yeah, well, I've got one in the
Coming
car. If anybody's out there needing anything, there's always a crutch from me.
As I say, it's the Clement way of doing business. He's looking at 2 players who are not making a contribution. There was also a kind of throat injury that Wright had in the first half, whether that's restricted his breathing or whatever. But Clement has looked and thought, no, those 2 need to be replaced, and that's what he does. Half time, never mind waiting for the hour mark as managers do. Get them on now, get Cantwell off and Wright, and get McCausland and Lawrence on.
Well, of course, it was here in the 8th of October, wasn't it? Remember the interim game for the now retired Stephen Davis and Alex Ray went to St Mirren, and that was Ross McCausland's first appearance of the season, and he's a very seldom looked back since then.
Yeah, until today, I think he'd started the last 8-9 games under Clement. So it shows you the manager obviously fancies him, and then at half time 1-1-0 decides to put him on, give him that bit of spark down the right hand side. It's been a difficult game for MD really to stand out. I've got to be honest, I'm cutting the players a little bit of slack, but it's all about, as I keep going back to it, 3 points, and Rangers will be delighted to go out here with 3 points.
Well worked that time from Rangers, throwing the left hand side, worked out Sterling, gets his head up, does it extremely well to pick out Tavernier. You just expect Tavernier when he's about 20 yards out, you know, better than that, the quality he's got. But again, the wind looks like it catches it. He's been put under pressure. But as forward thinking from I think for any manager, if there weren't any injuries to Wright or Cantwell, to sit there and just think 1-0, it's been ugly, but it's been effective, we'll just go with it. I think Hugh's right that he doesn't wait about. You know, he likes to change things. Even if he's winning, if he's not happy, he will change things. First yellow card here for, is it?
I think it was Lawrence, was it?
Is it Lawrence?
Yeah, Tom Lawrence into the book. He's not long on his first real involvement.
It's a yellow card. It is a yellow card. He's high. It's a yellow card. He can't complain about that. Puts yourself under a little bit of pressure in the sense that he's just literally come on the pitch.
Would you take him off because he's on a bit?
Just protect
take
him.
him off.
Get out of there.
Unprofessional here.
I think they're all under pressure because, as I say, 1-0 is not a lead that guarantees you anything. I do take Mark's point that given the conditions it might be, but Rangers can't rely on that. And St Mirren goalkeeper's about to launch it towards Butland's side of the park, and St Mirren not out of this at all.
Yeah, 50 minutes on the clock. Still that Cyril Desser's goal. We did say really difficult conditions in Paisley, so we cut the teams a bit of slack, but we've not seen much fluent attacking play. St Mirren have a throw in a advanced area of the pitch. Certainly Greg Kiltie, I know he was a fitness doubt for this one, but he's made it and he's on the pitch this afternoon.
We're leaving that free kick there that
Does
Lawrence
my
got
head
booked in. I mean, what is it? 40 yards for the goalie's
Does my head
box. The goalie comes up. Everybody's so narrow. No thinking of let's play this wide. Let's change the angle. The goalie, get everybody up, get them through the middle, and we'll launch it. But that maybe the conditions is just.
Well, I think the conditions are, you're launching it onto Suter and Golson, who are probably favourites to go and win the ball in there. You're then hoping to pick up the second ball, and if you don't do that, it's a complete waste of free kick. Yeah, we go into this modern day football about all these fantastic coaches and how they want to play. That's schoolboy for me.
How bobbly does the pitch look as well? I mean, that is skipping up to Scott Tanser's knee height as he's running forward with that, Mark.
Yeah. So you've got both the pitch not being a great surface and the wind, so it's no wonder it's 1-0 with very few chances, but this could be one here.
Yeah, it flashes past the post. I think it was wider than it looked initially because Tom Lawrence doesn't look too shocked to see it drift past. He just didn't really catch it, had the dip on it, but it flies wide.
Well, we're going to have
sliced
to
ever so slightly.
Suggest that perhaps the shooting is being affected by the external conditions.
I don't know about that one, Hugh.
I actually think that Scott Tanser run forward there was the perfect example, because you could see it, there's not much. He's just knocking out of his feet and trying to strike, and the ball is skipping up and down, making it really difficult just to run forward with it. So we will cut them some slack.
Yeah, guys of my era that's listening to this will be saying, what are they talking about? Because that looks like a bowling green when we played. A bowling green.
Every game in your era looked like this.
Yeah, but we had the ability to control
you're right,
it,
Gordon.
That's the difference. We had the ability to control it.
I'm surprised you even got crowds in your day, because who would pay for that?
Crowds? I get biggest crowds in my day than
I know, that's what I mean.
they get now.
There was no thought behind it.
People had nothing else to do though back then.
Different options now. Good argument.
No social media and that. Yeah, Gordon,
options.
good. Stick up for yourself.
Dazzler's getting tetchy now.
Oh, no wonder.
You couldn't have completed 150 passes per game. There's no way.
Mark, listen, you wouldn't have survived in our era.
No. Who was it? Big Dave Neary. Get it out his feet.
Dave Neary
Dazzler running the channel.
Dave Neary was absolutely superb.
Dave Neary was a good player.
Look, you go back to the guys that played in the Davy Coopers, Bobby Russells, guys like that. Terrific footballers, terrific. Here's Dessers against my old friend here.
Yeah, the ball over the top has caused St Mirren some problems to date. And I think Stephen Robinson will be annoyed at it, Mark, because they seem to be making real heavy weather of it, and Rangers have got a chance, but Sterling's header is a poor one.
Well, they've certainly not got their line right, but you've got to think they've taken direction from the management and the coaching team. But again, you need to put pressure on the ball if you're going to have a high line. Otherwise, you'll have Dessers just running off you. All he needs to do is time it, and he's in, and he was almost in again there.
It's not a bad chance, Gordon, because
Shevy can just cushion that. Just cushion it. He doesn't need to do a lot
Tavernier
with it.
sees Sterling, doesn't he? Right, he knows he's going to be all on his own. Finds Sterling, and
I've got to say, I know that we'll give it the wind, right? Make excuses for him. It's a terrific ball. If he just cushions it, then Rangers are in. But what I will say is about substitutions, McCausland's been involved more in 5 minutes, 6 minutes in what Scott Wright had in 45.
I've got to say, Daz, yellow card for Wilson.
What for?
David Neary. David Neary was an artist of a
World
football
Cups
player.
and everything.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Mark. Rangers hit the post. I don't think Mark was criticising him specifically. He was talking about.
Listen, I said David Neary was excellent. Yeah, but you obviously weren't listening. I said Dale wasn't excellent. No. You know, and David Neary was obviously playing down, just seen at the tail end of his career, and he found himself in the dressing room with this guy.
Yeah, and winning cups, and I was leading him as a captain.
No, that must have been a real low moment for him.
By the way, imagine that, Neary.
Come here. We're doing the huddle in the dressing room. We're doing the huddle in the dressing room. Come here to tell you this.
It reminds me of the old Scotland schoolboys story when Mark Wilson was the captain and Darren Fletcher had to stand and listen.
Oh, without doubt, many a time. Oh, many a time. And Fletch took on all that advice, and look where it got him. The year later, he was playing the first team at Man United.
Take your advice on board.
He took my advice. I said, Fletch, keep the head down, keep working hard. Listen,
I remember David Neary saying to me, I cannot understand to this day why you've not got Scotland caps. I'll never forget that look in his eye.
Sure he did.
Wow, I should have had Scott. I was a lot better than what I produced.
Someone sent me the picture, I need to find it now. Sent me the picture of the day that he signed for Celtic. The other day. Oh my!
I signed for Celtic.
It is awful.
Who signed you? Strachan, wasn't it? Strachan?
Yeah. And you know what?
What was it?
I regret a lot about that day. How? Because when you sign for a big club like Celtic, your first thought, Gordon will know this, your first thought is, what do you wear? Right? You're thinking, you're going to get your photos taken, you'll be out in the trap. What do you wear? Do you go casual? Do you go smart? My agent at the time says wear a suit and a shirt and tie.
But he meant wear your own suit.
Did you go and buy a Celtic?
Not your dad's.
No, wore the old suit. Went safe. Black. I think it was a black shirt, black tie. Terrible choice. And I had a pale complexion back there.
Hey, listen, that's one way of putting it.
I wasn't looking my best.
Well, we've all had dress disasters, Mark.
Take a look at that.
Oh my!
What do you think of that? Yeah, you quite like that suit.
How pale? What is it?
Look, have a look at that
very
photo.
Young.
Gordon, have a look at that photo. Tell me where his left hand is, and look at Strachan's face. That sums it up all day long, mate. All day long. No wonder you got to give me
a good
Celtic
relationship. Me and Gordon always.
Yeah. Gaffer.
The black shirt, black tie.
That's safe, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I regret it. By the way, Scott Brown signed, was that 6 months later?
He wore the baggy jeans, didn't he?
Oh my goodness. So at that point I was looking,
you were dapper,
like off the catwalk in Milan compared to him.
I wouldn't go that far, quite frankly. But anyway, it's a poor kick from
Zach Hemming,
and it finds only Nicholas Raskin, which wasn't the intended recipient, I'm sure. Ross McCausland, who's on trying to make something happen. Tavernier flicks it, but through to the goalkeeper.
Well, it's gone on in the same vein as first half. Dessers, to be fair, you only see him every now and then, but he's clipped the post, he scored the goal. Maybe the script is written for Dessers to finally put this to bed for Rangers, but at the moment it's still open.
Sorry, Hugh, I think if you're St Mirren, like, they don't look like they're going to get back in. They look like maybe Rangers will score the next goal and put it to bed. I think the manager's got to be active here. I think he's got to change something, or even tweak the system on the pitch. Hitting long balls away up the park with the wind behind you ain't going to get you back in this game.
Maybe he needs to tell Zach Hemming to take a bit off his kicks.
No.
That's 2 in a row that he's kicked, and
the wind is just grabbed him.
His front players by 30 yards.
Ryan Jack is going to come on, you would assume, for Nicholas Raskin. Yep, indeed it is. The Belgian midfielder. He had a few critics, I think, I've noticed, from Rangers fans on social media in the last couple of days, wondering when they're going to see the best of him. But he's off today, and Ryan Jack comes on in his place.
I think he's another one that really didn't offer a lot today, Gordon. In fact, Mark was talking about when he heard Scott Wright was off. I hardly seen him kick the ball. I think Raskin was the same.
Nice nutmeg from Ridvan Yilmaz, and he strides forward with it. St Mirren try and get themselves back behind the ball. Lundstram and Jack just teaming up there as they have many times in that Rangers midfield. You get the feeling that Nicholas Raskin's obviously back. Dujon Sterling, although he's playing left wing or whatever it is today, is he possibly ahead of Ryan Jack in that area now?
You would think so,
even though he's not a recognised midfielder.
You would think so, and that's down to the player himself, being thrown in there when the team needed it and just shining when he went into the centre midfield area. That's what happens at big clubs. When other players come in and do such a good job, you find yourself down the pecking order. And it wasn't so long ago that Raskin was hailed as a magnificent signing, and I think he is still a good player, but see at clubs like Rangers, Celtic, the bigger ones, when you go off the boil for a wee bit, the criticism comes on your shoulders
He's out
quickly.
for a long time, Mark.
Yeah,
and
I think he deserves a bit of slack.
I've got to say, I think he's got good ability, the boy. I think he's just feeling his way back into the first team. But he's not really contributed a lot today.
He is sorry, Raskin, I thought you were talking about Jack. Because Ryan Jack, of course, out of contract in the summer. Is it likely that this is his last season at Rangers?
Probably. Say that every year, do we know?
Yeah, with introduction.
Well, no, because he signed a new 1 year, didn't he?
Yeah.
How old is he, Gordon? Sorry, apologies. How old is he?
I think this will be the
31.
I think this will be his swan song. I think the way Clement's taking this side, he'll want to refresh it. He'll want younger legs, more dynamic. And I think Jack's
had injury problems as well, of course.
When he's been fit, I think he's a good player, top player. But the injuries catch up with you. I know that all too well myself. And he's no youngster anymore, so I think Clement will look to move him on.
There you are, Hughie. No youngster.
Yeah,
31.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's old in footballing terms.
I've been 31. I've been 31
years
nearly
left.
3 times.
Exactly.
Gogic deflected off him out for a corner. That's a frustrating one for him because it was a really tame shot from Tom Lawrence, but it does hit the St Mirren man and out for a corner.
Well, Rangers still looking for that goal 60 minutes in that settles this match, because there's no other way of looking at it. If Rangers go 2 in front, the game is over and done with. But until it comes, there's a dubiety about how it all ends.
Kind of lost track of which way the wind's blowing, because Zach Hemming's kicks seem to be going long, but the corner flag next to James Tavernier is pointing at the St Mirren goal.
We say swivelling.
That's because a plane's just landed at Glasgow Airport. It's maybe
this could be a difficult one if James Tavernier gets it right, although he's having to wait because the ball keeps blowing away from its intended spot. But here it comes. This might come right in on top of the goalkeeper, and it does. And it's
a great ball.
Great ball,
good
using
defending.
the wind, good defending as well.
Well, I was going to say poor attacking. If James Tavernier's putting the ball in the middle of the 6 yard box and there's 2 St Mirren defenders actually can head it away, you're looking for a striker just to be in there. I don't think he could do any better.
Over the top from John Lundstrom. So let's go to Celtic Park, because there was some debate on the show last night. Who would Celtic play, particularly at left back? No Greg Taylor. What about Nicholas Kuhn? What does his immediate future look like? Andrew McLean has all the answers.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the big decision for Brendan Rodgers today was at left back. Greg Taylor ruled out for a few weeks with an injury. So would it be as simple as Alexandro Bernabe slotting into that left back role? Would Liam Scales move over and that would make way for someone else at centre back, maybe a youngster like Mitchell Frame getting the nod? Well, it's going to be Alexandro Bernabe who comes back into the picture for this one, for his 5th Celtic appearance of the season. Cameron Carter-Vickers comes back into the starting lineup as well, fresh off of signing that new 5.5-year deal. And captain Callum McGregor, he was rested for that 5-0 win over Bucky Thistle. He's back in the starting lineup. So just to clarify, Nawrocki, Taylor and Holm are the 3 that drop out of the starting lineup from last weekend. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Bernabe and Callum McGregor are in. So it's Joe Hart in goal, the back 4, Johnson, Carter-Vickers, Scales and Bernabe. The midfield 3, McGregor, O'Reilly and Bernardo, and the 3 up top, Abada, Palma and Kyogo. There is a place for Nicholas Kuhn on the bench, so he could well make his Celtic debut today. Sitting alongside him on the bench, Bain, Turnbull, Holm, Nawrocki, Vata, Ralston, Welsh and Mikey Johnson. I'll get the Ross County team to you shortly.
Alejandro Bernabe at the back.
Obviously Brendan, like myself, sees a bit in the boy. Big gate. Look, we keep saying that every time. There's an opportunity now. Taylor's been the number 1 left back there. He's obviously injured. Get yourself in there. Football changes very quickly. We've seen that. The jury was out in Dessars going, nah, he's never got to be a Rangers centre forward. All of a sudden he's turned it round slightly. It's up to Bernabe now. Look, he can't walk away and say I wasn't given the opportunity. His opportunity starts now, and he's got to produce a day for me.
Well, so far you would term Bernabe at the price that Celtic paid for him, which was close to £4 million. You would have to term him a flop. But the Gordon is correct that he comes in, he minimises change, it saves disruption. Scales stays beside Cameron Carter-Vickers. The surprise for me is that Kuhn is not played. That the only signing that Celtic have made in the transfer window, and perhaps the only signing they will make in the transfer window, but he starts on the subs bench against a very poor Ross County side. But
is that a case of those that are in there are they're still ahead of him? They've not done anything wrong. We said when he signed it's not a glaring area that Celtic needed an emergency signing in.
I thought that in order to give him the best chance possible in front of the fans, Ross County at home would be better than Aberdeen away, which is the next game, Hibs away, which is the game after that. But perhaps the thinking is that Celtic, who should be comfortable today, get so comfortable that Kuhn can then come on.
I think it's a good game from here to start for the bench.
Yeah,
I do. I'm not surprised with that. What you're saying there's 100% right. I think they'll get into a situation where they feel comfortable, introduce him into the mix, see what he's got. I think that's good management. I really do.
Burnaby, I'm just casting my mind back. One of the few occasions when he was outstanding was against Ross County in the Highlands, when he finished off the game with a spectacular goal. Players are funny like that. He'll think that Ross County is good for him, and his deepest subconscious he'll say, I like playing against them. But he's a £4 million fullback. If he can't do it at home against Ross County, when will he ever do it?
And of course, 450th Celtic appearance for Callum McGregor. Mark Wilson,
right,
he's just been on an incredible journey since coming in under, was that Ronnie Dyla's time, and we all know the story about the Notts County loan, and he was a bit more of a winger, and to come in, rack up that number of games, that number of trophies, be a mainstay for Scotland. It's been a really, really impressive career up to this point.
An outstanding career, and what a milestone to reach yet again, and he's just kind of ticking them off as he goes along. Very rarely misses a game, and that's why he's up at that number of appearances. But what you got to think about out of those 450 appearances, how many real bad games has Callum McGregor had? And that's the extraordinary thing about this player.
I think the other thing about him, Mark, when Scott Brown leaves the club, after the kind of career that Scott Brown had, the trophy laden career that he had, the leader of men that he turned out to be, the fans' favourite that he was, and you wondered, Callum McGregor, can he rise to those heights? And the answer is a resounding yes. He did everything that was asked of him, did everything that Scott Brown delivered, was there for treble wins and all the rest of it. So he deserves every credit possible.
Back in Paisley, there's a really boring argument between Dessers and Zach Hemming about where a free kick should be taken from inside the St Mirren half, and it's really just killing time and adding to what's not been a pretty spectacle. But Rangers are a goal in front, 67 gone now. St Mirren have rolled the dice though. We told you about Rangers changes earlier. Now a double change for the Saints. James Scott on for his debut, and Mikel Mandron with him. Off goes Lewis Jameson and Jonah Ayunga. And
that's why you wonder if there's a sting in the tail here, because Rangers have not posed enough of a threat in front of goal. Dessers has scored and hit the post, Tavernier has hit the post, and those three chances sum up Rangers' day so far. The final quarter of the game now, and St Mirren have that chance, as I said at the very start of the programme. Under the circumstances that Rangers and Celtic find themselves in, a draw is a disaster.
Hugh is correct. The potential missing ingredient at now, Gordon, have we had any shots on goal in the second half from St Mirren yet? Oh, here we go.
They've got an opportunity now.
Ball just won't settle. It just will not settle for them at all. It's so fiery. The wind not helping whatsoever. So I will repeat the question. I might have missed it, but have we had any shots at goal?
No, and I think that's why he's decided to go a little bit more attacking, try and get the ball in there quickly, try and cause a bit of panic in the Rangers defence. But so far Rangers have handled it very well. It's not been a classic, it certainly hasn't, but I think that Clement would still like this little bit of a cushion with the next goal. As Hugh quite rightly said, doesn't matter how the game's going, 1-0, you're always suckered to that counter attack.
I think even with the condition, I think if Clement looks at his backline, they've been under no real pressure. So you look at Goldson and Suter, even on a day like this, you would think they'd be under more pressure with the wind swirling. You'd think St Mirren would be putting balls on top of them, and you go off the pitch and you say the centre halves were brilliant today because they put their bodies on the line, they won the majority of their they've been under no pressure whatsoever. So that's what Stephen Robinson can be disappointed with after this second half, up until now, that is. Here's Rangers coming now. Tavernier just nicks it.
Oh, it's a great tackle from Kwon, right in the edge of the box. Tom Lawrence was looking, I think, probably to slip a pass, but maybe a shot. He was getting out his feet either way. That's a great sliding challenge from Kwon.
He had to get that correct, and he certainly did. His timing there was brilliant. St Mirren gave the ball away cheaply. Tavernier picked a pocket there, and all of a sudden Rangers looked dangerous. But that is a fantastic tackle.
Yilmaz dogged down the left hand side as it comes in. St Mirren not making a brilliant job of clearing it, and Kwon this time's robbed by Sterling, showing his physical capabilities. We're approaching that 70-minute mark. Rangers in front. You can't necessarily see a St Mirren goal because they've not had many opportunities, but it's definitely too close for comfort if you are Philippe Clement. Is that fair, Hugh?
Yeah, absolutely. Rangers are not doing enough to get the second goal, and we are in sting in the tail country, but St Mirren will also have to work Butland. Not one shot on target the entire day long, and that the day is 70 minutes long now, but rule nothing out either end.
That's a nice pass from Ryan Jack. Just some movement in behind from Tom Lawrence and trying to involve Ross McCausland. It's been a better couple of minutes there from Rangers, more of a patient build up from the back, and managed to work it forward. Tom Lawrence looking to come inside, and again it's just a bit more patient, a bit more controlled possession than we've seen too many times today. It's been given away quite quickly by both teams.
Yeah, well, that's ideal for Rangers. Keep the ball for a bit. You know, there's no need to force those passes forward that is so difficult to play in today's conditions. They've just kept it through the lines, and they've created, well, I was going to say a good opportunity here. Lawrence, it just opened up, but St Mirren just got back to him. But this is a problem for St Mirren. When they get the ball up there, they're still 40-50 yards away from Jack Butland's goal to put them under any pressure. So I get what you're saying about the sting the tail, Hugh, because at 1-0, of course, something extraordinary could happen, but they're not putting Rangers under any pressure at the back at the minute.
Caelan Boyd-Muntz is going to come on for St Mirren, and it's replacing Kwon. Quite surprising. I feel like he's been having a good game, although maybe hasn't played lots of 90 minutes at this type of intensity, given his
he's got the old
lack of game time at Celtic.
He's got the old Jurgen Klopp run out of energy.
What did you make of him, Mark? Because obviously Celtic fans will be keeping an eye as well.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. By the way, he's a lot more physical than I thought he was. A bigger lad than I thought he was going to be, but looks controlled. The only time he wasn't in control is when he got his opportunity, and that's the time you need him to be controlled. But I think he could be quite happy with his 70 odd minutes today, and I think there's hope yet for him.
I'll tell you who'll not be happy. The St Mirren manager. The quality from some of their players is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's poor quality from Rangers. It allows St Mirren to win it back. Falls to Caelan Boyd-Muntz, and you can see what he's thinking. He's trying to play an ambitious cross to the back post, and it goes over Jack Butland's bar. It's
Are we
really
giving him an excuse? He's just on the pitch?
No,
okay, because you gave everybody else an excuse about the pitch, the wind, the rain.
That wasn't
snow.
the wind. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, okay. I'm only trying to buy the lads some slack.
Philippe Clement become a fortune teller. He tried to advise us all at the start that this will basically be saying this will not be great to look at, and he was 100% correct.
He's watched Sean Batty last night in the weather report, I think, Hugh, and foreseen what was happening.
What happened to Sean?
Well, he said
He just told you it was going to be windy.
It's going to be windy.
Oh, right.
What happened to Sean?
By the way, Sean's great. He's doing fine.
Is your mysterious ankle injury, is it wind related? No, didn't get blown over outside or anything.
No, it's just like,
how is it? Because I see you've been standing on it.
I'm trying
unaided for a long time now.
I'm trying to put my foot on there to give it some comfort and joy, but yeah,
you're supposed to keep it elevated above the heart.
I can't. Where am I going? I'm going to sit down
on
there
the desk.
With my foot.
Aye,
right.
get it on the desk.
Rabbi Matondo is going to come on.
Change number 4.
Rangers. Both teams have made changes. None of it's really managed to raise the quality of it, but we keep saying we are cutting them slack. Conditions look terrible, so let's just battle our way to the end and see who comes out on top. It's certainly Rangers on top at the moment. James Scott on for his St Mirren debut. Seem to remember one or two impressive Motherwell performances against St Mirren for James Scott, so maybe Paisley is a happy place for him.
Where did they get? He went to Hull. Was it Hull?
For £1 million.
Yeah, and is that where St Mirren got him from?
No, he's been about since then. Remember, he came on loan to Hibs.
That's right. Yeah,
Exeter.
He was a handful. But interesting what you can bring to St Mirren in the second half of the season.
Exeter, I've never been there. I got sent there for a reserve game with Bristol City.
Bristol wasn't your highlight of your career, was it?
One of the lowest moments. You know, one of those.
As far as Bristol,
you don't play in the first team game on the Saturday, and then you get the shout. There's a reserve game on the Monday, and these are the names that are playing in it. My name, Exeter away. Oh my goodness!
And you're thinking I used to play in the Champions League.
That's exactly what my thought was when I was standing there, and I had a nightmare in that reserve game as well.
What's the name of Exeter's ground?
Why are you paying so much attention to the name of Exeter?
Because I thought it was, and then I realised it wasn't.
It shares a name with a famous well, I was going to, the end of the clue was it shares a name with a famous English Premier League ground, but not that one.
What one is it? That's why I asked the question. I couldn't remember what one it was.
St James's.
That's it. I knew it was a
St James Park.
That's why I was saying
St James's. Yeah.
I'm right on it.
Who's the Exeter manager? More
Gary
obviously.
Caldwell.
Gary Caldwell.
Yep.
How many miles?
He's as loved at Thistle as you are.
Is he? See, not.
I don't think they like him much.
I think the Thistle fans like me.
Corner Rangers, who've had enough Exeter City facts for one day. Yilmaz decent enough. Somebody takes a tumble. Not entirely sure why. But it goes all the way back to Jack Butland, and we're no closer to another goal scoring chance, it has to be said. We had any in the second half for either team.
Desser's hit the post. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
So see, when you look at the game, actually Tavernier's hit the post. They've scored a very good goal. Desser's hit the post. You know, all the decent chances within the game, if you call it chances, I think fell Rangers' way.
Lovely strike, James Tavernier, so it's not a criticism for him, but kind of pot shot.
Oh no,
25 yards, hits the outside of the post. Are we getting excited about that? I'm not sure.
It's all we've got to pick from, unfortunately.
It's been a poor game. You can't deny it. It's been a poor game. This is where the sort of fans got to make a decision. I think they close that car park in the next 10 minutes. Do you get out?
No. Listen, you stay till the end. Not
never,
everyone's like you.
Never. I'd been the house spinner.
Clipped ball in. It's maybe got the potential to cause problems, and Tavernier can only flick it behind. I don't think it was his intention. He maybe just got up a bit early, and of course the wind, as we keep saying, the ball was hanging there, so Tavernier, it skiffs off the top of his head.
But that's what I was meaning moments ago.
Corner kick.
You have to put the Rangers backline under some form of pressure, and by the way, that's well defended from Tavernier, because that's a difficult one to take when you know someone's got a run on you.
Greg Kilty's corner, and it's a great ball in the 6-yard box. If St Mirren can fashion something, but they just can't. And Kilty hits his own player. No! That might sum it up. The initial ball comes in. I didn't catch which St Mirren player it was, but he falls to the ground, and when he's on the ground, the shot from Greg Kilty whacks him as he's lying there. Oh, this is not.
Last excluder.
I mean,
front of the Rangers goal.
It might be mediocre, and no one could deny that. But I've just got this feeling that St Mirren are inching towards the sucker punch.
I think in the last couple of minutes there's the territory there. You look at that, Gordon, that just needs to fall slightly differently in the box, but we need more. We need more signs of it.
Yeah. I'm not as confident as Hugh, to be honest with you.
Anyway, we've already given you team news from Celtic. I think there was a half-hearted claim for handball, but I think it hits Dujon Sterling. Did that not hit him in the chest, the stomach?
I thought it hit him in the chest there.
We need to see it a second time, but I'm pretty sure it hits him in the... Yeah, and it's just a slip, is it? Although St Mirren players kind of writhing in agony, but they're checking, having a little look. David Dickinson's getting some communication, and I think on we go, is he? No, not yet.
I think that's not a penalty kick. You can't give penalty kicks for that.
You can give penalty kicks for anything now.
Nah, not that one, Hugh.
Speaking about VR, did you see in the African Cup of Nations the guy that scores with a handball midweek? And he ran away celebrating.
That's what it does,
He
doesn't it?
ran away celebrating into the crowd like he was getting away with it. And of course, he looked at it and just clearly seen it was he punched it in the net. How he thought at that point, nobody's going to see me here, amazed me.
Free kick Rangers on the halfway line. Stephen Robinson has his head in his hands. Can't quite believe it.
It's a big boy, Gogic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be taking him on.
Yeah, he was just adjudged to have been a bit forceful on Cyril Dessers. Is there much in it?
No,
Nothing.
nothing.
Dessers is on his way across anyway. He's just got round the side of him there.
Anyway, we've already given you team news from Celtic Park. As I was about to say, Burnaby in at left back in the absence of Greg Taylor. If there is to be a Nicholas Kuhn debut, it will have to come from the bench. We are approaching those games. The difficulty is when we've got an early kick-off, we spin a few plates at once. So let's go to Tynecastle. There's a real good look on paper about that fixture, and Fraser Wishart is watching Hearts against Aberdeen.
Yeah, always a big game, Gordon. As you're saying, two of our biggest clubs, and they'll both claim to be our third biggest club. A good run of formed by Hearts recently sees them sitting comfortably in third place, 8 points ahead of Kilmarnock, but amazingly 16 points ahead of Aberdeen, although the Dons do have 3 games in hand. So you have to think that defeat today will end Aberdeen's hopes of catching Hearts in third, and the importance of all that money at the end of the season, the start of next season in Europe. For team wise, Hearts have made 3 changes from a team that played in midweek and 1 here late on against Dundee. Out go Halkett, Denham and Vargas onto the bench, and in come Grant, Oda and Forrest. They go with a 4-3-3 formation. Xander Clarkson goals, Dexter Lembikisa, Frankie Kent, Stephen Kingsley and Alec Cochrane across the back, Caleb Neubenhoff, Benny Beningame and George Grant in midfield, with the match winner in midweek, Yutaro Oda and Alan Forrest either side of skipper Lawrence Shanklin. Their substitutes: Craig Gordon, Craig Halkett, Toby Civic, Aidan Denham, Finlay Pollock, Macaulay Tate, Kiyosoke, Tagawa, James Wilson and Kenneth Vargas. Just the one change, and it's forced for Aberdeen from their draw in midweek. Rubezic picked up a knee injury, so he's out, and in comes Richard Jensen. They go with Kellaroos in goals, a back 4 of Nicky Devlin, Stefan Gartenman, Richard Jensen and Jack McKenzie. 2 in midfield of Graham Shinnie and Connor Barron, with Dante Polvara, Leighton Clarkson, Jimmy McGrath behind the lone striker Bojan Majovski. Substitutes for Aberdeen: Ross Doohan, Lewis Duke, Papa Gay, Jonathan Hayes, Esther Sockler, Shaden Morris, Ryan Duncan, Angus MacDonald and Jack Milne. And the referee today is Kevin Clancy, and the dreaded VAR's back, and it's Alan Muir who's on VAR duties here today.
Big game that between Hearts and Aberdeen. You've not missed much apart from a St Mirren substitution, and he's given away a foul straight away. It's Charles Dunn on for Mark O'Hara. So is that a bit of a change in shape, is it, or someone else moved? Because you can't imagine a more defensive change at this time in the game. And obviously Mark O'Hara a midfielder, Charles Dunn a defender, and he has gone into that defence. But anyway,
Gogic has moved into the middle of the park.
He's gone off. He's given away a foul, but it doesn't come to much. So on we go. 82 on the clock. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
On we go slowly and uninterestingly. It's been a poor game. Even fed up talking about the weather. It has simply been a poor game.
Of course, we'll get back to it in a bit more detail, but Fraser Wishart should have I'm not going to say a treat in terms of, I can't guarantee a brilliant footballing game, but a big game. Big game. 2 big teams.
The way that Hearts came back midweek was magnificent. 2-0 down, getting booed off the park at half time, Dundee looking comfortable, and the goal that makes it 3-2 is just a work of art. And today I think they will have too much for Aberdeen, who go up, then they go down, then they go back up again, and they're just not convincing.
And if Hearts get a penalty, will Lawrence Shanklin take it? He scored 15 on the bounce, and now he's missed 3 in a row, which is quite something.
Take it off him.
I think you forfit the right. 3 misses in a row, you forfeit the right to go again.
To be fair, he's taking that.
To be fair,
he's taking
if it was me, I would depend on how confident I was in the day.
Well, he will be confident though.
Well, he'll
what
take
point
the
does the
penalty.
manager
And plus the fact
in?
he's a skipper, isn't he?
Aye, he's taking it.
So he'll take the penalty kick. If he misses the 4th one,
can you run the risk of someone missing 4 in a row? Do you put someone in a situation where they can miss 4 in a row?
Shanklin should be honest with his teammates, and
but that'll be the problem. Lawrence Shanklin is a strike. He will believe he can score. I don't doubt that. But at what point does the manager make a decision?
Well, it's his last game for Hearts, according to the caller who was on here last night and told you, as we made our way to Eddie, the caller was telling you that he's a Celtic player this week. So
what's happened with that contract situation? Has he even considered that? Has he signed it?
He's not signed it.
No chance he's signing that.
Ah, right, okay.
Absolutely no chance.
He was signing it Friday morning when the transfer window shut.
No, he won't.
Wait out to summer.
Well, wait till summer. He'll move in the summer. His stock's high just now. But I think the manager will leave it up to the player. I think he'll speak to the player and say, "Okay, you've missed 3. What's the situation here?"
Well, if it's entirely up to him, he'll take it. Surely.
Yeah, I think if they get a penalty kick, he will take the penalty kick.
Anyway, we'll see. They might not get one, but we'll watch that one with interest. Hearts against Aberdeen should be a treat, or we hope it's a treat for Fraser Wishart. 84 gone in Paisley. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. Is there anything left in this?
Yeah, there is, because the conditions are unpredictable. The scoreline is unpredictable. You can't assume that Rangers will automatically see out time. Zach Hemming is about to launch one in the direction of Jack Butland again. I still think there is room for believing that there might be an equaliser.
No, for me. No,
You sound defeated by this.
I'm defeated. The only thing that spoiled this game's the ball. No, I know what Hugh's saying. I think St Mirren will start throwing long balls in there, but they've not got
This
the
could be the
quality.
one. There's a tumble in the box. It's flashed across. Big chance.
Yeah, my big mucker.
Alex
Absolutely
Gogic.
no chance.
Big chance for St Mirren. The cross came in. It just wasn't cleared. It falls to him. He's on the angle. Does he slice it completely? No, it's a corner.
block, yeah.
it's a
Defending,
block.
good defending.
block. And that, you wonder, is that a sign of things to come, or was that St Mirren's moment? It doesn't go down as, you know, a sitter or anything near it. There was so many bodies in front of him, but it was a good opening. We would.
At least they're putting Rangers
Agree.
under a wee bit of pressure. You know, making their defenders defend. Corner whipped all the way to the back.
Oh, and it hits the post, I think, from St Mirren.
Oh.
That is as close as they've come. It was a tight angle. You wonder if Jack Butland
Here's
had
a
it
counter
covered.
attack.
And here comes Rangers maybe on the counter attack. This could be it, put to bed if Cyril Dessers can fend off the defence, but he can't. And a late rally this from St Mirren. They've had one blocked, they've hit the woodwork.
Two good sightings of goal there. The corner, I initially thought it was over. It was all the way to the back post, and I couldn't quite see who headed it, but yeah, it certainly comes off the frame of the goal, and St Mirren's best opportunity, best opening of the game. Yeah.
And they just give away a needless free kick, take a bit of pressure off Rangers, play right into their hands. 4 minutes plus added time. That was a good opportunity. Set play was always going to be their best bet. Listen, he's not beating Jack Butland for that angle. Absolutely no chances of beating Butland from there.
But it's a warning.
Could he have headed it back across? Or is he stretching too much?
Probably a difficult one, Gordon. We'll give him the benefit of doubt. But he wasn't beating Butland. He wouldn't have beat the wee boy for Westlife for there. Never mind Butland.
Anyway, Rangers now have a free kick, and it's a kind of low one. It does cause one or two difficulties. St Mirren hack it clear as we reach the 87th minute.
There's something totally non-threatening about Rangers. You know, the ball comes into the box and there's no belief there that something might come of this as Rangers make their substitution now.
I thought he was ready to come on about 10 minutes.
He just doesn't fancy it, does he? He's just sitting back. Rabbi Matondo.
If you look at Rangers away to Hibs midweek, away to St Mirren, you're seeing two particularly difficult games.
Absolutely.
Probably going to win both of them, and
no goals conceded.
Clean sheet. So it's been a good few days.
Yeah, I think it's been good work from Clement's side. Shows he's a manager who doesn't just go from one win to the next. He actually thinks about what's in store. And with Sterling playing out on the left, he's just been taken off there, but he's done his job, did he? He's actually done quite well in possession anytime he's had it, and it's paid off for Rangers, unless something extraordinary happens here in the closing few minutes.
Need to see this one through, but it's getting closer. 88 almost gone as St Mirren try and battle, but it's just a ruck of bodies and
look at
Scrappy
this is
just
like
about
a rugby
covers
match.
This is just out of school, put the jackets down, isn't it?
Everybody around the ball, quick, get it. That's it. Look there, hook it over. Yeah, not much quality, but Clement won't mind if he gets out here 1-0. 6 points in the last 2 games, and through to the next round of the Cup is good going for your first 3 games back, 3 away games in that as well, so he won't mind.
It's not about what it looks like now for Rangers and Celtic, it's about what it adds up to, and that now within a couple of minutes we may have that situation where Celtic are just 2 points well, there'll be 5 points, but they need to get the 3 points against Ross County today, because the ground rules have been established now. In all likelihood, there's only a 2 point gap between them.
I think it probably does matter what it looks like when it's your home games, though, doesn't it?
At Celtic Park today, for example. Yeah, I mean, Ross County,
like the Celtic fans will go, and I'm sure they would take the 3 points, but if it was this type of 1-0 as an example at home to Ross County, you get more grumbles. I think on a day like this you accept, okay, go to Paisley and take the points if you can.
You know, a Ross County side, last 2 home games, Aberdeen, Partick Thistle, lost both at home. The manager continues to talk himself into bother. Derek Adams, you know, whatever he says, it's the wrong thing. The players are they playing for him? They've got injury problems today. They've got suspension. They look for all the world like sacrificial lambs at Celtic Park, and Celtic, with that kind of front three that they have, of Abada, Kyogo, Palma, with Paulo Bernardo playing the way he is, and Matt O'Reilly, the subject of a week-long speculation. If Celtic don't win comfortably, there is something far wrong.
Is this the chance for St Mirren? James Tavernier is covering, though. There's not a lot on for Scott Tanser at all. He does find a teammate who maybe chooses the wrong option to come back the way the ball came, but tidy from Boyd Munce into the box, nice, and you can't lay it off to Gogic. Is there going to be one final chance? I don't think. The 3 minutes has now gone up as the ball comes in. And St Mirren just miscue at the final minute. I wonder if there was a breakdown in communication there, because there was. No, it's Greg Kilty, but there were 2 St Mirren players under the ball, and I wonder if that should have been a better chance than the one.
He's come off his shoulder. It's just a missed time, but he would need to have generated a lot of power to beat.
Good ball into the box as well. There, right into the middle, run about the penalty area. Gets it all wrong, Kilty. But the best opportunities for St Mirren have came in the last 10 minutes maybe. Left up way too late to mount something. They've stayed in the game. Of course, when it's always 1-0, like who says, it might be a sting in the tail, but they've not put enough pressure on Rangers' backline throughout this 45 minutes, this second 45.
Well, Rangers seeing out the time, getting a break there with a free kick. What we got? Less than 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, Alex Gogic penalised for pulling back Ryan Jack. Stephen Robinson is furious. David Dickinson goes over and shows him the yellow card.
That's one for a crowd. It's a free kick. I don't know what.
I think it was more that Ryan Jack kind of threw himself down, didn't he? There wasn't much really happening.
Kick. What are you getting involved for?
Who are you having a go at there? Stephen Robinson?
Yeah. One for a crowd for me.
I wouldn't be happy with that.
You don't think that was a free kick?
But I would be complaining
what does that mean?
The way Ryan Jack went in. So what are you having a go at Stephen Robinson for?
Because it was a free kick.
Does the referee need to book him there in the 91st minute?
I
thought you meant it's one for the crowd for the referee and the assessor who will be in the crowd. Just let that go.
Mark Wilson wants the rules broken now, just because it's late in the game.
91st minute. We only play up to 90 minutes. Then after that, shouldn't be cautioned.
I think that all rules off in added time.
That'd
something
be
they
great,
could bring in. Maybe sometimes
offside or anything.
Aye.
What rule you would like to see brought in?
That'd be great. No offside, no fouls.
Aye, after 90 minutes.
Bring out
a baseball bat.
You couldn't do that in normal.
That's a bit too far.
I know, Hugh, you've just exaggerated a little bit.
You can't do that in the VAR era, though, because sometimes you get 10 minutes added on. That's just too long for the chaos, isn't it?
That would be
great.
Too long. If we were getting more extra time.
We were getting good suggestions in there, and Hugh had to spoil it.
Violence for pure violence. It's typical.
Chapel written all over him.
Typical of him. We're nearly there. Jack Butland kicks it long, and by long I mean into the stand. But yeah, I think that's going to be the end of it. Maybe 20 seconds or so. I don't think we've had any stoppages within the 3 minutes, or certainly nothing serious that would cause David Dickinson and his team to go much longer.
No.
Rangers taking no chances, just going over the top.
And that's us.
And is that us? Right on full time. Here's Gabriel.
Full time, and Rangers have beaten St Mirren 1-0 thanks to an early goal from Cyril Dessers, which trims Celtic's lead at the top of the table to just 2 points. The Gers went ahead after 14 minutes at this windy Smyser Stadium. John Lundstrom afforded time in the middle of the park, once again playing a brilliant through ball over the top for Dessers, He'd made a perfectly timed run. He took it round the goalkeeper and tucked it away. 12 goals for the season for the striker, 3 in his last 3. James Tavernier then clipped the post outside of the post from 25 yards. That was Rangers' only other real chance of note in the first 45. You've got to say St Mirren grew into it there, and Buomono and Kwon both had decent chances in the first half, but slightly miscued their volleys. The second 45 picked up a little with a bit more fight, but the wind picked up as well, and it really affected both teams. A real lack of quality in the final third, partly down to the weather, but partly down to both sides attacking forces. They're saying that there were still chances for either team. Gordon, Dujon Sterling had a header at the back post that was over the bar. Dessers hit the post again when it looked like he might get his second of the afternoon. It was the hosts who had all of the chances in the final 15 minutes though. The ball looked like it would drop for Alex Gogic in the box. His volley was brilliantly blocked by a sliding tackle from John Suter. He was great all game. James Bolton, the St Mirren defender, then thundered a header off the post from the resulting corner. It just didn't fall for St Mirren, and that was that. It's 1 win in 6 in the league for the Buddies. They remain in 5th place, whilst it's job done for Rangers. As Cyril Dessers, the goal scorer, Jack Butland and Philippe Clement, amongst others, are clapping the away supporters here in loud voice. Clement said it would not be sexy, and it certainly wasn't. They've had 2 big wins away at top 6 sides over the past 4 days without conceding a goal. Now it is over to Celtic, who are just 2 points ahead of the Ibrox outfit. Full time in Paisley as Philippe Clement walks off applauding his fans and his players. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel in the studio. The top team round the grounds were 1 game into this 6-game Saturday in the Scottish Premiership, and it was a victory for Rangers, a 1-0 win at St Mirren. The highlights reel will be fairly short, Gordon Dalziel, but you need to win games like this throughout the course of a season, and you never know, it might be one Rangers look back on has been one of those days that they just needed to get over the line, and they did.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but the positives: 3 points, Dessers getting a very good goal, clean sheet, another one after Wednesday night. So deep down inside, the performance wasn't great. I think conditions played their part, Gordon, without doubt. But I think the Rangers manager will come out and be quite happy with his last 3 or 4 days' work.
Have to agree, because when you look at the fixture list, when you're away in that mid-season break, you're coming back straight into it, away to Dumbarton. Like, you should win that, but we saw the conditions that night, got through that. But then when you look at Hibs away, St Mirren away, you know, those are tricky games, and they managed the one at Easter Road with no trouble at all. But this took on a different shape, this game, and Clement recognised that from the start. He changed his side. Don't often see that from a team that scores 3 midweek to come into a midweek game and change your front 3, especially when one of those is a recognised defender. But he had the courage to do it, and he got the result. I mean, not a lot of quality in it, but I said at half time that one moment of quality from John Lundstrom and Desser's run and touch and finish might just be enough to win the 3 points, and it proved that an awful lot created in the second half, but that moment of quality's got him the 3 points today.
We're free of the hypothetical now. We know that there are 2 points between Celtic, the leaders, and Rangers in second place. Therefore, it's down to Celtic now. As easy an opponent as you could wish for, unless it was Livingston going to your place. An opponent that cannot win a game, that has conceded 6 goals and scored none in their last 2 games, and you have players of a quality that they can only dream of. So Celtic, unless they make a monumental blunder, are going for that kind of lead that puts Rangers still under pressure.
And now it is over to Celtic, Andrew McLean.
Yeah, it is indeed. As Hugh said, this is the first sort of realistic view we've had of the league table in quite a long time, because Celtic and Rangers have played the same number of games. It's not going to be that case for too long, really, but just 2 points in it, so you'd think the pressure would ramp up here. Celtic fans will be expecting a victory today. They're expecting a few signings as well. They've been hard to come by so far this window. Just Nicholas Kuhn in the door for them so far. He starts on the bench today. The big question was at left back, though, who would come in for Greg Taylor? He's out injured for a few weeks. Well, it's Alexandro Bernabe that gets the nod. Nawrocki and Holm drop out, as well as Taylor. In come Cameron Carter-Vickers, Bernabe and Callum McGregor making his 450th Celtic appearance today. So in goal, Joe Hart. The back four, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Alexandro Bernabe. The midfield three, Callum McGregor, Paulo Bernardo and Matt O'Reilly. Kyogo through the middle with Lila Bada and Lewis Palma either side. The substitutes, Bain, Kuhn, Turnbull, Holm, Nawrocki, Vata, Ralston, Welsh and Mikey Johnson. As for the visitors, well, Derek Adams came in and he was clearly not happy with the quality of his Ross County squad, and he hasn't half done something about it. 6 players in this January window and all 6 start here at Celtic Park. What an overhaul that is in the January window, and there's still a good few days left. The changes from that disappointing defeat last weekend, 3-0 in the Scottish Cup to Partick Thistle. Derek Adams has made 5 of them. Randall, Leek, Harmon, Sheath and Sims all drop out. Brown, Aina, Borthwick, Jackson, Keller and Jenks come in. So in goals, George Wickens. The back four, James Brown, Will Nightingale, Loic Aina and Cameron Borthwick Jackson. In the midfield, it'll be a 5 of Victor Laturi, Brandon Keller, Eli King, Teddy Jenks and Jan Danda. Simon Murray will be the lone striker for them today. The substitutes, Laidlaw, Sims, Sheath, Harmon, Henderson, White, Brophy and Reid. The referee at Celtic Park is Ewan Anderson. The VAR is Greg Aitken.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's hear from both managers then, starting with Brendan Rodgers.
To the level that we want to, and that's what we'd focused on, and I think that now we're starting to see that sort of consistency of mentality and quality in the team, and we'll look to continue with that. We know that every opponent will always be a challenge for us. Derek will come and he'll organise his team well and they'll be competitive, but for us we need to bring the game to the level that we want to, and from what I've seen in the players this week, the tempo and intensity is just really a continuation of what it's been over the last period of time, and we'll look to bring that to the game.
So the thoughts there of Brendan Rodgers. What about Derek Adams?
Obviously a difficult game for anyone that goes there. They've got an excellent home record. Hearts are the only team I believe that have beaten them this year, so it's a tough task. We've obviously got injury issues. It's quite easy from the outside to look at things and say, how can you not do that and do this? But if you've got a plan in place and you don't have the tools to do it, it's like, you know, going to the job and not having the tools. You can't do the job, and that's the scenario in training at this moment in time.
So looking forward to that one. We'll continue to build up there. As Hugh alluded to, Mark, on paper it's not one that should trouble Celtic. You just never know. Derek Adams, he's made his feelings clear on the strength of his squad. He's signed a number of players, and Andrew McLean told you they're all in today.
Well, it's on his watching. He's signed the players now, and he's put them all in the squad. It shows little faith in what was left behind by Malky Mackay, and he'd been quite vocal about that. So it's a big test for them today, but you don't expect anything other than a Celtic one. Warmed up with I thought, a good performance against Bucky Thistle, albeit, but good to have a Bada back in the side. You seen him last week, those runs that he makes behind fullbacks, and O'Reilly and Bernardo pick him out and he cuts back for Kyogo. That is going to be massive, I think, in the second part of the season, and we'll see plenty of that this afternoon. And I think it is the right decision to start with Kuhn on the bench. I think you made a good point, Gordon, when you've got Abada who's back in the side and you've got Palma the other side. Those guys have got a lot to do wrong before they're left on the bench, so it might just be a waiting game for Kuhn until one of them slip up before he gets in the side.
I don't think MD's expecting anything else bar a Celtic one, and I think Celtic fans are going along there, and I think it was Hugh pointed out, it's got to be a comfortable one. They're looking for a good performance. They'll probably be looking for goals, but like Rangers, 3 points first and foremost. That's what they'll be thinking about. But I would expect Celtic to run out comfortable and put Ross County under a lot of pressure this afternoon.
Because you know the way this rivalry works, Mark. The Celtic fans, undeniable, even if I'm not saying they were expecting it, but they would have been hoping, obviously, that between Easter Road and Paisley, maybe Rangers would drop something, you know, in one of the games. That hasn't happened. So in case they didn't know before, they'll be well aware that the foot needs to go to the pedal needs to go to the floor. Sorry, for Celtic.
Well, we spoke about it before in the show, how the pressure used to switch from side to side, and I think that's been absent a wee bit in recent years, but I think it's firmly on now. I think you're right with what you say. I think that even the Celtic players would have looked at that and thought, oh, they're a couple of tricky games, and you just wonder how Rangers would start after January, because some callers midweek pointed out that it's not been their strongest point, but they've started strong. So the pressure shifts back to yourselves, and you need to take care of your business. And I think the Celtic players will be happy with their start. Buckie Thistle at home, followed by Ross County at home. I don't think you could get two more favourable fixtures. So, you need to then do the job when you're on the pitch, and I'm with Daz in this one. I think it will be comfortable, having seen Ross County in recent weeks.
There's a lively old week coming up on Super Scoreboard from 6 until 8, Monday to Friday, because Gordon and Mark will get it on Thursday, because that's the final day of the window. The window closes at 11:30. The Celtic fans are looking for other players to come in. By the time I get here on Friday, the window will have closed, and you'll be dealing with the aftermath. I think the Celtic supporters are looking for signings to come in for sure. Today ought to be a given. If it's not a given, then I don't know what's left to say. You've got a £4 million left back who's in there. He's a £4 million left back. He should be the automatic replacement for Greg Taylor, while Taylor is indisposed. Celtic ought to take care of today with relative ease, and then it's about the window for the fans. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll get it tight here.
So really, you are the window cleaner on Friday.
I am.
You're the transfer window cleaner. I quite like it.
I've got my own bucket.
We've already given you team news ahead of Hearts and Aberdeen. Did we do any of the other fixtures? Well, we obviously did Celtic. Let's go to Kilmarnock and Hibs. David Friel, how's that one looking?
Yeah, it's looking good, Gordon. This place is filling up slowly but steadily, and this is a huge game for both teams. Kilmarnock sitting fourth. They're 6 points ahead of Hibs in 6. I think they're clearly going to see this as a chance to open that gap, and they can also move further away from St Mirren, who are directly below them. Derek McInnes, what a job he's doing. He's Kelly going really well in the league. They're also progressing in the Scottish Cup, beat Dundee last week. They were 2-0 up after 3 minutes in that game. He told them to attack the competition. He'll tell them to attack this game in exactly the same fashion. Kelly had some injury problems, lost the likes of Brad Lyons, but Derek's recruited so well, and they've been a real success story of the season so far. You can just sense a kind of feel-good factor around the place, and I think they'll see us a chance to get 3 points. Kelly make just one change from that Dundee game. Corey Ndaba replaces Liam Polworth. They signed James Balagizi on loan from Liverpool this week. He's on the bench, but Greg Stewart is banned. Apparently he got a red card in India late in his career over there, so has to serve a suspension. I'll just run through the Kelly team for you. Kieran O'Hara in goals, Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright, Stuart Finlay and Corey Ndaba at the back. Midfield 4 of Danny Armstrong, Rory McKenzie, David Watson and Matty Kennedy, with Kyle Vassell and Marley Watkins up front. Subs for Kelly are Birigiti, Dees, Balagizi, Murray, Cameron, Donnelly, Davis, Polworth and Gary Mackay-Steven. As for Hibs, I think it's fair to say they're continuing to underachieve with the squad they have. Nick Montgomery's spoke about it a lot. He's got injuries. He's also missing guys like Martin Boyle at the Asian Cup. But they start today 14 points behind Hearts, and I don't think that's ever going to be acceptable for Hibs or the fans. They've added to their squad in this window. They've just announced a couple of hours ago the signing of midfielder Nathan Mariah Welsh from Bournemouth on a 2.5-year deal. We all know about Bill Foley's investment. Obviously he's got links to Bournemouth, huge investor down there. His investment in Hibs should be official soon, and I don't think Mariah Welsh is going to be the last player to arrive from Bournemouth. There's a links between the clubs really strengthening in the coming months and years. Emiliano Marcondes, he's also been brought in from Bournemouth on loan, a sort of Danish maverick attacking midfielder, and the quote of the season has to go to him. This week he compared himself to a cold pasta dish and claimed he's at Hibs to be warmed up for the remainder of the season. But I think you get the sense that a lot of Hibs fans are hoping that the penny, if you pardon the pun, starts to drop for Nick Montgomery and he begins to adapt his approach. He likes this 4-4-2 system. He wants to play out from the back. He's got David Marshall as a super keeper, but I think you just need to look at performance against Rangers in midweek to know it's not really working all the time. He needs to start showing the fans, I think, he can find a way to win, because you're beginning to hear some grumbles about Nick Montgomery. I don't think his record's as good as maybe people think. He makes 2 changes from that midweek loss to Rangers. Paul Hanlon and Marcondes are in for Lewis Stevenson and Maizian Mai Olida. So Hibs will line up 4-4-2 as usual. David Marshall in goals, Kanaya Megwa, Will Fish, Paul Hanlon and Jordan Abita at the back.
Eli Yuan, Dylan Levitt, Joe Newell and Jair Tavares across the middle, with Dylan Venti and Emiliano Marcondes up front. Subs for Hibs are Murray, Amos, Stevenson, Mayolida, McCurdy, Doidge, Mariah Welsh, Molotnikov and Whittaker. The referee at Rugby Park is Grant Irvin and the VAR is Nick Walsh.
Only one other place to bring you team news from, and it's a huge game between St Johnstone and Motherwell, and we will hear from Dave Galloway, who has the teams next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Fast approaching the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Plenty more reaction from Paisley to come, where Rangers ran out 1-0 winners against St Mirren, cutting the gap at the top. It now goes back to Celtic to see what they can do, but to be honest, there are huge games all across the division today. So let's hear from Dave Galloway ahead of St Johnstone Motherwell.
Interesting comment by St Johnstone boss Craig Levein in the build-up to this match, Gordon, when he said he hoped today's game is decided on the pitch rather than VAR after a couple of contentious decisions proved costly against Aberdeen. Saints can emerge with credit from Wednesday night, fighting back for a 1-1 draw, and could consider themselves unlucky not to have won the game. So they look to build on that in a bid to move away from that relegation playoff place. But of course Motherwell, level on points with their hosts, have exactly the same thing in mind, and they too can have grounds for optimism. Last weekend's cup victory over Alloa Athletic, making it 2 wins and a draw from 3 matches. These two have so far this season fought out 1-1 and 2-2 draws, and everything points towards another close contest here this afternoon. St Johnstone make 2 changes. In come Max Kucheravi and Benji Kimpioka. Out drop Sven Sprangler and Dylan J. Simi. So Dimitar Mitov in goals, a back 3 of Ryan McGowan, Liam Gordon and Andy Considine. 4 in midfield, David Kelchins, Dan Phillips, Max Kucheravi and Luke Robinson, with Matt Smith and Graham Carey playing off Benji Kimpioka further up the field. Substitutes for St Johnstone: Richards, Gallagher, Clark, J. Simi, Olafunwa, Sprangler, Smith, Franzak and Smith. That's 2 Smiths, Kerr Smith and Connor Smith, both on the subs bench for the home side. Motherwell, Andy Halliday is in for his first start, and out drops Adam Montgomery. That's just the one change for them. So it looks like 3-4-2-1. Liam Kelly in goals. Back 3, Paul McGinn, Bevis Mugabe and Callum Butcher. Midfield, Stephen O'Donnell, Davor Zdravkovsky, Harry Payton and Georgie Gent, with Blair Spittle and Andy Halliday supporting Theo Bair. In attack, the subs for the Well: Oxborough, Nicholson, Blaney, Elliott, Ferry, Wells, Miller, Luca Ross and Max Ross. The referee today is Colin Stephen, and in VAR it's Gavin Duncan.
Andy Halliday in from the start. The team news doesn't get any bigger than that, Gordon DL.
Yeah, delighted for him. Obviously it's an important game there, because you look down that bottom of the league and Motherwell sitting 9, St Johnstone 10. Nothing to separate them.
Level on points, aren't they?
Level on points. Halliday's bringing his experience. If he doesn't have a good game, he can just start up a quiz. He's quite good at that. But I think that's a very important game.
Did you see his photograph in the newspaper this morning?
No, I don't know.
There he is with his Clyde microphone,
looking the part, no doubt.
Yeah. And that dead cat on top of his head.
It is a big game. Mark Wilson, and you look at Andy's season, obviously it's quite a big ask. I mean, obviously that's why Stuart Kettlewell has signed him, but he's not started a game this season, so you're going way back. You're going back a good bit before you find his last start, but he is in from the beginning today. Motherwell have had a rotten week. Signed Adam Montgomery, were pleased with him, had high hopes for him. 1 appearance, out for 3 months with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, it's been a horrible couple of weeks for Motherwell in terms of signings, loan signings going out the door and then new signings coming in. But look, when you sign players, you bring them in to make a difference in your squad, and Motherwell certainly need a bit of experience. Andy's your man to add that. Fitness, I don't think there'll be any problem with his actual fitness. I mean, tempo of the game, speed of the games, the thing is difficult sometimes to grasp, but I'm sure he'll be fine in there. But agree with Daz, it's a big one this afternoon. St Johnstone at one point looked cut way adrift at the bottom. Everyone was certain they're going down. All of a sudden Craig Levein comes in, few half decent results paired with Motherwell's poor results, and they're all square.
I know you can say this
still
about
a first start in 8 months though.
Yeah, look, he's not going to get 90 minutes. I think that Kettlewell's, right in playing him. He needs a bit of experience in there. He's away from home. Andy will take the ball. He's a brave player, Andy, but I worry for Motherwell as much as St Johnstone is. Where's the goals going to come from? I don't see it at all.
Bear's been alright, is he not, the last couple of games?
Only striker though.
Spittle last week could have had a hat-trick. So there's goals there from a striker and a midfielder in recent weeks. I get what you're saying overall in the season, but if you're talking about recent times, they're not right.
How many goals this season's Bear scored?
I couldn't tell you. But in recent weeks,
five. Right, five, and we're now into
in the
nearly
league. 5 in the league.
And how many of them 2 or 3s came in recent weeks? So you've got to go with recent form.
Okay, if you want to go down that road, we'll go with recent form.
Just when you're talking
this
about,
is the most boringest argument ever.
But there's a big 0-0 coming Dave's way, I think.
You talk about form and you talk about the Celtic game and how it should be a comfortable one for Celtic. Look at the FA Cup in England today. Maidstone, from the 6th tier of English football, have knocked out Ipswich at Ipswich.
Yeah, Ipswich had 38 shots on goal. Maidstone had 2 and scored. And away they go. Anyway, here's Stuart Kettlewell ahead of that game that we've been discussing.
It's to go and find a run. We made ourselves and have found ourselves hard to play against, hard to beat through spells, and we need to go and try and find another chunk. And that's why the cup game was so important to me in the football club on Saturday, because we were off the back of a win and a draw. It gives us another chance to win a game on Saturday, and you just want to try and breed that feeling. Everyone will tell you, and I've spoken about it often enough, that once you get into that habit and that feeling of winning games, potentially getting clean sheets, creating and scoring chances, as simple as all of that sounds, it is the confidence aspect. Now, we found ourselves a little bit down in confidence through a bad run of games. How do you break the cycle? Well, I hope we have done in terms of those 2 wins and that draw that I'm speaking about in the last 3 games.
So, looking ahead to that one, St Johnstone Motherwell. Let's go back to Tynecastle, because Hearts Aberdeen is always an interesting match-up. There's a lot to play for today, Fraser Wishart, but everything this month is about the transfer window as well. Lawrence Shankland, what does his week look like? That will be in the background, I suppose, of all the Hearts fans today.
Yeah, I think fans of both clubs, Gordon, I think they'll be hoping it's not the last time they see their star goal scorers in the club's jersey, because Miofsky is a bit of interest in him as well, and clubs linked with him. Duke, who's found himself on the bench more recently, also shown interest. But the big story, of course, of Scottish football has been Lawrence Shankland, because he's been linked with certainly with Rangers a lot, and maybe Celtic a wee bit, and a few English clubs as well. I certainly said last week, my gut feeling is he'll still be a Hearts player when the window closes, but I agree with Gordon Dalziel talking earlier on about signing a new contract. I don't particularly think he'll do that. He'll want to stay and play, score a few goals, get his place in the Scotland squad, and then you just never know when you're in a situation where you're playing at that kind of level. A goal for Scotland in the Euros, and all of a sudden it might open up other windows for him as well, other horizons. He's probably 27, maybe 28. So it's a key contract, this next one for him. It'll be his last big contract, you would imagine, in his career. But I think he'll still be here. He's still such a key player. Although Hearts are sitting in third place, they're not renowned for goal scoring other than Shankland, really. So he's such a key player. And as you said, in this race for third place, because we don't expect Aberdeen Hearts to be challenging the Old Firm at the top of the table, so third place is really as high as they're going to get, and both of these clubs have in the last couple of seasons been third, and that brings all these riches for the Europa League.
In relatively brief terms, maybe even in a word, David Friel, will Lawrence Shankland be a Hearts player when we talk again next Saturday?
Yes, but I think there might be a little bit of late drama with a cheeky bid from someone. I don't know who, but I just think I can't imagine that the window will go on with nobody coming in with a formal bid for Lawrence Shankland. So I do think he'll stay, but I think there could be some drama this week.
No drama. Hearts player.
No.
Won't be a Hearts player this time next week.
No what?
Gordon says one more.
Aye, that's fine.
No.
I don't need all the details. It won't be a Hearts player next week for you.
No.
Okay.
100% Hearts player.
Going to be an interesting weekend. I mean, not just for Lawrence Shanklin, for other players as well. But he's obviously been the focus of as much speculation, if not formal bids, by now. We will leave it there because kickoffs are fast approaching, and we are back at Celtic Park next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Luker's Land Rover. Buy your next car or book your MOT service or repair online.